rosters. So the depth has been helped along, and it's also helped the kids because I've mentioned this several weeks ago. There's a kid who may not be ready week 1 that is probably ready week 6, and I think we're going to see a couple of those young men today.
It's that next man up mentality that they've been talking about the last few years, and you're seeing it used more and more even at the upper ranks. And, you know, you think you know a guy, and then that guy gets injured or that guy gets disciplined, and suddenly you have to get to know a new guy. But a lot of times that new guy, just as good as the last guy.
Well, it's the middle part of October, and this is the last long road trip for the Blue Dragons. Well, again, we're in Iowa Falls, Iowa, which is just north of Des Moines. We're about 2 hours south of Minneapolis, Minnesota, so it's time for some football. So thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it very much. This has been the Papa John's Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by Papa John's, 501 East 17th. Give them a call, 665-7272. Opening kickoff coming your way right after this.
Papa John's has changed the cheeseburger forever.
It's my new double cheeseburger pizza. Cheeseburger? Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger? Cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger.
Papa John's new double cheeseburger pizza. 100% premium beef, no fillers, fresh diced tomatoes, pickles, and a zesty sauce. Just $12 for a limited time at papajohns.com.
Papa John's quality with the taste of a cheeseburger. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's.
This has been the Papa John's Countdown to Kickoff with Glenn Grunwald, Darren Dunn, and HCC Sports Information Director Steve Carpenter. Brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Stay tuned. The kickoff to tonight's HCC Blue Dragon football game is just ahead on PW Radio and Country 102.9.
All right, here we go. Hey, thank you, Randy McKay. Appreciate it. Glenn Grunwald along with Darren Dunn. We're in Iowa Falls, Iowa, and we are at Cadet Field and also the stadium named Dale Howard Stadium here in Iowa Falls. Darren Dunn, a little precipitation, a chance of storms this morning, pushed this game back to 3 o'clock, and you got a pretty soggy field down there.
It is soggy, and there are lots of divots in this field. I think footing is going to be a big factor in this one, especially just watching the guys in their breaks on the field, trying to get in and out of breaks. The defenders are going to have some trouble at cornerback. Specifically, your free safeties are going to have some trouble, your strong safety as well. Guys have been trying to clean their cleats off all pregame, getting everywhere they can to take stuff off, going over to the fence, trying to clean them off at the fence, getting the side of a bench. Even they have some cleat cleaners as well. So watch for that footing to be a factor in this one.
Well, it is so much of a footing situation. When you and I were here earlier, they were a little concerned even with the dance line being out on the field. They're keeping them on the sidelines so they won't disrupt the middle of this field. This is a regular turf field. We're so used to the artificial turf anymore. This is a regular turf field, and it's going to be a little bit different for the Blue Dragons this afternoon.
Well, and if it wasn't bad enough that it's already grass that's taller than a lot of the turf that you're going to see, that's going to hang on to you. Now you have this mud that is flying around, so you have to take those shorter, choppier steps to make sure you get where you're going, or else your feet are going to come out from underneath you. And you could hear the coaches in pregame talking about, guys, stay up more on your toes. You get back into your heels, you're going to slip and fall.
Yep, no doubt about that. Darren will be doing both the color commentating as well as the sideline reports. He's down on the far side on the east side. Sideline reports today are brought to you by Oliver's Beef and Brew at 925 East 30th. Also, Tycoon Kinesiology, the home of Nutrimost diet plan, as well as also Jackson Mead. Jackson Mead at 13 West 6, Tycoon Kinesiology at 3007 Garden Grove Parkway. Thank those fine sponsors as you will hear us talk about them throughout the game. I'm looking at the weather map, Darren, and a little bit bit of precipitation. It's been sliding to the south all morning and all afternoons long. It looks like it's going to pick up here in about the next 15, 20 minutes, so you might be ready for that with your umbrella down there. But we're pretty lucky because the majority of this weather front that is affecting Kansas all the way up through Iowa, all the way up to the northeast is sliding right by us and is affecting things down in Kansas as well, as that K-State game was pushed back. And there was already one game in the Jayhawk Conference pushed to tomorrow.
Yeah, and if if it would stay just like it is right now for this entire game, it wouldn't be a bad game. But as you mentioned, throughout, you're going to have 46% chances and above for rain to be here. And that game you're talking about that has been moved tomorrow is that one we really had our eye on, Independence at Highland, pushed to tomorrow on your Sunday at 1:45 p.m. I can tell you, though, that Iowa Western and Garden City game is going on, and at half, wow, Iowa Western up 28-11, and the Reavers have already put up 381 yards of offense.
You bet, and we're going to keep an eye on that one as well. 60-degree game time temperature, percentage chance of precipitation is 70%. So, Darren, you're the one that's going to get wet today, and not yours truly, as I'm up here safe and well, not warm though. This is a cold press box with that concrete. I got a text from somebody that indicated that 10 years ago it was really old. So this is an interesting situation where it's all concrete, and very seldom do you see those in Kansas, at least.
Well, and I didn't mean to eavesdrop at the beginning of the game, but I heard guys who were going to be down here on the field talking about putting plastic sacks or bags over their socks and trying. Yeah, so I'm trying that. I will tell you, my feet, they're a little bit wet already. I don't have the best shoes on for this environment, but putting on the plastic bags has helped me a little bit. And I'm already slipping around in my shoes a little, so you can imagine how it is with these football players getting their socks all soggy. You probably want to change those out at halftime if they can, because they'll slip and slide not only with their cleats in the mud, but inside their shoes. They've been trying to retighten those laces as much as they can in pregame as well.
Captains are meeting at midfield. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. We'll come back and set the stage for the kickoff. We'll be right back for more from Cadet Field in Iowa Falls, Iowa, right after this 2-minute timeout.
Or take advantage of the Anchor Ant's awesome buffet. You'll make
All right, here we get set for the opening kickoff, and it's going to be Ellsworth kicking the ball. A little squib kick. It's going to be taken up by up and touched by a Blue Dragon, and it goes out of bounds. It's going to be maybe Ellsworth's ball, and there was a drive for it. Hutchins did not handle it, but they say Hutch did keep it, so it went out of bounds. What, did they reverse that? Yes, it will be the Panthers football. And one official's asking for help as he wasn't sure what he saw, but right away a big turnover, and the Panthers will have the football. What a turn of events right off the bat there, Darren Dunn.
Yeah, Devin Miller had a chance at it. The ball just kind of squirted free from his hands, and then Elijah Jones of the Panthers, the only question was, did he get the ball before he rolled out of bounds? The officials say he did.
All right, so quick turnover already. Ellsworth with the football, 1st and 10 from the Blue Dragon 33-yard line. So 1st and 10 from the 33, and you're going to hear us talk a lot about Parrish Chambers. He's the quarterback, has a man in motion. Back to passes Chambers. He's going to throw it off the back leg. Has a receiver, and he drops the ball. Intended out for the outside out there by number 88. Incomplete on the throw and the catch right there. Is missing it was Pete Savrides.
And that's what you have to test. You have to test these defensive backs and see how their footing is, and the Panthers not hesitating to go at it right away.
Yeah, they went after it right away. Pete Savridis missed on that attempt. So 2nd down and 10 now from the Blue Dragon 33. Parrish Chambers calls a change on the play, and he gives it off to his running back. It's going to be to Kendrick Robertson with the run, and he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Might have picked up a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Hutchison defensively came up and made the stop, so they say no gain. 3rd down and 10 now. Again, the line of scrimmage right at the 34, 33-yard line of the Blue Dragons. Parrish Chambers, the quarterback. He's from Mobile, Alabama. Back to passes. Chambers dumps it off. Catch is made, and a stop made by Quinn Head on the stop. Loss on the play, or little or no gain. It's going to bring up 4th down. So nice stop right there, but Quinn Head coming out of that linebacker spot, Darren.
Well, he's just been one of those guys that's not only a great tackler, but has shown he's great in pass coverage also.
Yeah, it looks like the Panthers are going to punt the football away. They're certainly going to aim for a corner and try to pin the Dragons way back if they possibly can. Muddy field conditions here at Iowa Falls. A beautiful little town just north of Des Moines and off of I-35 by about 15 minutes, 15 miles or so to the east. Here they get set. The snap and the punt. End over end is going to be a short one. They're going to leave it alone and let it bounce. It's going to take a Panthers bounce, and it's going to be pinned inside the 10-yard line. Let's see where they mark it effectively. You probably got a better angle where the down marker is going to be put out down there, Darren, because this field is really not marked very well.
Yeah, it looked like initially that he got well under that ball a little bit too far, and it was going to be a short kick, but instead he gets the nice bounce, and it rolls inside the 10 down to about the 6 or the 7, and really it could have rolled even closer to the goal line, but the Panthers' Naeem Smith grabbed it probably a little bit too soon.
All right, it's going to be the Hutchinson Blue Dragons with the football on their first possession, 13:20 to go in this first quarter play. No score as of yet. Back to hand off will be the Blue Dragons' Cam Jones, and gives to the first man through. Looks like BJ carries it forward. BJ Edmonds, the running back for the Blue Dragons, carries it forward for a pickup of a couple on the play. Hutchins again, BJ Emmons out of Morgantown, North Carolina at running back, as well as also Deshaun Waller will be in there from time to time. Cam Jones, the quarterback. He sends a man in motion left to right. The turn to give to the first back through. He's going to break away and across the 40 and up to about the 45-yard line runs B.J. Emmons. Nice run by Emmons. He got by that initial line of scrimmage. A little burst of speed by B.J.
Emmons broke that tackle of Jihad Beeman, and it was off to the races after that.
See where they officially mark it. They say he stepped out of bounds at the 35. So a nifty pickup right there, 28-yard pickup by B.J. Emmons on second down. So 1st and 10, Hutchinson. They're moving left to right as you watch and listen. Glad to have you along both on the stream as well as on Country 102.9 as well as KWBW in Hutchinson. The turn again. They give up the middle. Is it Emmons or is it Waller on the carry? It's going to be Emmons. And he carries forward for a pickup of about 3 yards.
That 28-yard run a play ago, the longest of the season for Emmons, and he has to come out of the game. Lots of mud all over his jersey already.
Yeah, he comes already out, and in comes Waller. Deshaun Waller will step in that tailback spot, and he'll be set to go. They'll split a wide receiver out on the right side for the Blue Dragons. That's going to be Tavian Allen split on the right side. The turn to give to Waller. He stutter steps and goes across midfield, across the 50 to about the 48-yard line. So effective moving and running the ball by the Blue Dragons. We're going to see the tale of two teams today, Darren Dunn, as we're going to see the running Blue Dragons and more likely the passing Panthers of Ellsworth.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about in the pregame, the ability for the Panthers to try to go to the short passes, but you noticed instead they went play of the game.
1st and 10 for the Blue Dragons again at the 48 of Ellsworth. Cam Jones, the turn to give, and quickly being bottled up in the backfield, the Blue Dragon running back. I believe again it was Deshaun Waller. He loses about a yard on the play. Waller with a yard loss, 2nd down and about 11.
With Emmons, they really worked the left side of that defense, and you notice with Waller, they've been working the right side. So let's see if they go back and test that left side of this Panther defense again.
Waller checks back out. Checking back in now for the Blue Dragons. At wide receivers, Marcus Edwards comes in. And they're also going to check into the backfield, another Blue Dragon. It's going to be Desmond Jackson. Jackson's been very effective, was especially against Iowa Central. The turn to give the keep by Jones, gets the pass away, incomplete pass.
Jones pass incomplete, pressure there by Nicholas.
Just left it too low for Leroy Watson the 4th, and had it not been down around his ankles, he was going to have a chance to turn and maybe make a Panther miss.
Watson was not able to even get to it. 3rd down and 11 now, passing down for the Blue Dragons. Hutch has been primarily in the shotgun this afternoon so far. This game again pushed back, I should say, or pushed forward to 3 o'clock because of the thunderstorms that were in the area of Des Moines and up through this area, Waterloo, Iowa, as well as Iowa Falls. Back to pass, a little shovel pass. Jones gets it off the Waller. He's got room to run, but then he runs right into a linebacker, still churning his feet, picks up about 7 or 8 yards, but it won't be enough, way short of the 1st down, and Waller finally goes down.
I'm going to tell you what I don't like, Glenn, the fact that we've seen a couple of plays now where running backs have been stood up and the officials have had slow whistles, a little too slow, especially for a field of these conditions. And on that one, you can hear the coaches from the Hutch CC bench calling, hey, where's the whistle? They should have blown that one dead earlier because you're going to risk getting someone hurt.
Yeah, you're going to risk, they're trying to strip the ball away as well. 4th down and about 4 for the Blue Dragons. They'll set up in punt formation and try to kick the ball away. So Hutch has falls errant at about the 41-yard line, and they're going to snap the ball away from there. The Dragons got a couple of 1st downs. Here's the kick, end over end. They call for the fair catch. They fumble, and Dragons get on top of it. And let's see where they're going to place it.
They're going to put it down at the 2-yard line because it's a muff, remember, so you can't advance a muff. Tavian Allen picks it up at the 2.
So the Blue Dragons thought they had a touchdown, but you're right, you can't advance that. So there's our 1st turnover, or 2nd turnover actually, this time against Ellsworth that might be big. So 1st and goal for the Blue Dragons. They're going to mark the ball officially at the 4.
And I take it back, that's Devon Henderson with those double numbers. Henderson, the one who gets the big play for the Dragons.
All right. Just under 10 to go in this first quarter of play, 9:59 to be exact. Blue Dragons knocking on the door, 1st and goal from the 2. They officially marked it at the 2. The turn, the give to Emmons. BJ tries to grind his way forward, short of the goal line by about a yard. So that'll set up a 2nd down and goal situation. BJ's so good in this situation, but usually, Darren, he dives over the line.
Yeah, usually he's able to try and jump forward or fall forward, but Keontae Shad got in there at 6'4", 280 and was able to stop him at the point of impact.
Glenn Grunwald, Darren Dunn, glad to have you along this afternoon from Iowa Falls, Iowa. Quickly up to the line of scrimmage. The turn, the give to Emmons. He cuts inside, drives over, stretches out the football. It's loose, and they finally, what do they call? The Ellsworth said they've got it, and they call a fumble. He tried to stretch out and put it over the goal line when it was knocked away from him. And coming up with the loose football was the Panthers for the 2nd time in this first quarter.
That's the dive you're talking about, but when he went to dive, he had that ball up above his head like he was going to dunk down a basketball from his elbow almost. And Glenn, he could have not been closer to the goal line. It was literally stripped away at the last second. He was probably only an inch from the goal line when that ball came free.
It was errant into the into the end zone, so it becomes a touchback, and it will be Ellsworth football on their own 20. They dodge a big bullet right there. Dragons thought for sure they were going to score, did not get in. So here we go with 9:24 to go in the first quarter. Play Ellsworth with their second possession. The last one stalled at about the Dragon 30-yard line. Here the turn, belly, now they're going to throw the football on the right side. Catches made, but maybe a loss on the play. They had to come back for it. Good coverage over there by Jerry Jacobs for the Blue Dragons.
Ben Rooney, a favorite receiver of Chambers, and you're right on that one. Almost a ball you'd rather drop than take the no gain or a loss of about a half a yard.
Yeah, they actually just barely lost a little bit. His forward progress was right back up to the line of scrimmage. Second down and 10 now from the Ellsworth 20. Ellsworth Panther football, their second possession. Their first one they got off a muff kickoff that the Dragons could not handle. Here the key, kind of a delayed draw, is going to be taken this time by the quarterback for Ellsworth. It's Paris Chambers on the carry. Picks up a couple. Third down and 7. Key third down call. Ellsworth, the throwing football team. And he dump it quickly. When I talked to Coach Rhodes on Thursday morning, he indicated that the D-line will hardly play in this ball game at all, that they dump on the quick passes very quickly. All right, Chambers checks off, back down to shotgun. Paris Chambers out of Mobile, Alabama, right-hand quarterback. They lost in 3 overtimes last week to Independence. Steps up in the pocket, lets it fling. He's got a receiver out there, and it is dropped. I don't believe it would have been caught anyway. Incomplete pass right at midfield. Nice covered by both the Blue Dragons, Jerry Jacobs, as well as for the Blue Dragons, number 9 back there. And Tavian, check that, David Henderson with good coverage.
Well, they've really been trying to test that left side, haven't they? Going to Pete Safridis again, but this guy only has 1 reception for 9 yards on the year.
What's really surprised me, they went to him right away early. Safridis is actually out of New Jersey. Punt formation now for the Panthers. They're going to kick it away on 4th down and 7. Ball's on the 22-yard line. Good snap. Here comes the kick. Nice kick away. It's a boomer. Back to receive is going to be Waller. He'll pick it up and take it at the 37. Stutter steps, gets back up close to midfield. They're going to stop him at about the 48, so his forward progress stopped at the Blue Dragon 48. 1st and 10 for the Dragons right there with 7:48 to go and no score on the clock. No score on either side of the scoreboard for the Blue Dragons or the Ellsworth Panthers. Pretty good D, Darren.
Yeah, defense has been doing well so far, and the thing you remember that the field comes into play. Not only the field, but also the ball, wetter than you are used to, and that can allow for a lot of slips of not only your feet, but your hands with the ball.
Temperatures picked up a little bit, 62 degrees. Low was 43 this morning. A little fog now in the Iowa Falls area. Give up the middle, pick up of 2 or 3 on the carry. Across the 50 to about the 49. So Hutchison moves the football into Ellsworth territory for the second time this afternoon.
Here comes the rain, Glenn.
And it's going to send the hometown crowd looking for coverage, and it's going to pop out your umbrella here in a little bit.
It is 90 yards away from me.
Let's put a wide receiver on the right side. Blue Dragons give to the first man through, trying to turn the corner. Here's Jackson. He's got some room. He's got open field down to the 20, 15, and knocked out of bounds right there. Nifty run by the Blue Dragons as Desmond Jackson on the carry.
1st and 10 Hutch.
So nifty pickup by the Blue Dragons, 33-yard pickup by Jackson. He started kind of coming on last week or 2 weeks ago a little bit. Again, the bye week confuses me a little bit. And really starting to work his way in that starting lineup. Not a starter yet, but a good reserve coming off the bench. He's back in that tailback spot. He'll get the ball again, looking for an opening up to the middle. Nothing there. Maybe picked up a yard and a half.
Jackson, the ball carrier, stopped by Cadet.
Defense stacking up inside. This is not that bad of an Ellsworth team. They're 3-3, but they're 3 losses. One was triple overtime to Indy just last week. They've had some really close encounters. Lost to Dodge 36-30. Cam Jones down in the center this time. Moves the back over to give to Jackson. He just about was stopped in the backfield, but has room to run, reverses around on the left side, trying to find some room, and picks up a couple yards. So, well, what looked to be disaster, it actually ended up being a pickup of about 2 yards on the carry, brings up 3rd down and 5.
I tell you what, effort goes a long way. You saw a lot of effort from Jackson on that run, and you saw little effort from Demetrius Cadet for the Panthers. He missed that tackle and then slowly stood up and watched the play go away from him and didn't even try to make a tackle from the backside.
5:50 to go in quarter one, no score as of yet. Hutchison took it all the way down to the goal line, but did not get in and had it fumbled away. He'll send a man in motion as Cam Jones sends a man in motion to the right side. Gives it off up the middle. Little or nothing there. And let's see what the call's going to be here. Maybe pick up 2 yards, 4th down and about a long 2. They're going to go with a hurry-up offense here. Defensively, here comes Ellsworth sending in the big man up front.
They're going to need him because it looks like the Blue Dragons will probably go to that power drag in where Emmons will take the direct snap.
Yeah, as Rob Dreher likes to call it, the jumbo pack. So let's see what they go with here. Emmons back in there as Jackson checked out. We've seen 3 running backs so far for the Blue Dragons. They've all been pretty effective. Cam Jones down under center. He'll split a wide out on the right side. Tight ends on both double tights. Slides the man over the turn. Fakes the pass, wants to throw, goes across, open in the end zone. Touchdown, yes. Blue Dragons score on a touchdown pass from 8 yards out on 4th down and 2.
Leroy Watson, the 4th, just his 4th reception on the year, and it's good for his 1st touchdown of the season.
Yeah, Leroy brought it in. That's how it happened at the 4:46 mark. 6-0. Hutchison with the early lead here. Again, if you just tuned in, this game was supposed to kick off at 1, kicked off at 3, and then also Dragons fumbled at the goal line. Panthers drive stalled, and Hutchison took it on the next possession down for the touchdown. Here to make it a 7-0 lead, and Niemeyer's kick is up, and it is good. And with 4:46 to go here in the first quarter of play, Dragons lead at 7-0. We'll take a half-minute break. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls right after this.
A reminder, fans, that restrooms and concessions are located in the north end of the end zone. The Panther store is located next to the concession stand. Once again, the bathroom and concession is available at the north end of the end zone.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to Ellsworth, the Cadet Field, actually, Iowa Falls, is the Dragons take a 7-0 lead with 4:46 to go in his first quarter of play. Nice drive after the drive stalled by Ellsworth to take it down about a 52-yard drive on that one, Darren.
Well, and things all come down to effort, and you can't say one player's lack of effort is going to define the team's effort. But right now, Ellsworth has players not giving their full effort here, and you see the full effort being put on by the Blue Dragons. This game could turn quickly in favor of Hutch CC.
Niemeyer to kick off. It's going to be a squibber taken right at, it's going to be picked up right around the 20-yard line. Misplayed a little bit, then been picked back up. Up the middle, there's an opening, trying to get it across the 40. Is the running back or the return man up to the 45. So poor tackling by the Blue Dragons allowed Ellsworth again to have great field position. They got to stop that and stop it quick. Nifty return right there. Looked like he's going to be stopped about the 25, but he takes it to the 45. They're going to officially mark it at the 46, 1st and 10 Panthers. I think we're going to see kicks like that, Darren, all day long because of the field conditions. They'll mark it right at the 45. So Ellsworth will set up shop now. Their 3rd possession. And Paris Chambers still back there in that quarterback spot. He'll slide a receiver over. He goes with a quick throw across the middle, wide open. The catch is made, and Ellsworth's off to the run across the 30, down to the 10, the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Ellsworth. And just like that, they score, and they score very, very quickly. As taking in a pass was Drew Grenhall. That is a 55-yard touchdown pass for the Ellsworth Panthers.
Those are those quick, short passes you were talking about that are going to be even more effective today, especially if somebody gets lost across the middle and then you have a guy slip, because you have an advantage as a quarterback and a wide receiver. You know the route, you know where your guy is going. As a defender, you don't know what break he's going to make, and if he breaks a way you weren't expecting him, you're a slip away from a big touchdown like that.
Ellsworth got a nice return to the 45, and then one play, 55 yards and a touchdown. The point after kick is up, and it is good. And we are tied with 4:27 to go in quarter one, 7-7 apiece. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll take a 30-second break. Back to the Ellsworth kickoff right after this. Drew. Well, just like that, we are tied at 7 apiece. Blue Dragons had scored on a nifty 52-yard, 6-play drive to make it 7-0, and then we turn right around in a 55-yard pass from Parrish Chambers to Drew Greenshaw, who was able to connect, and there's your touchdown. We're tied at 7 apiece. Now we get set, and Panthers will be kicking off again. Darren and I made the drive up here yesterday, about a 7-hour drive. We stopped in Kansas City to say hi to former athletic director of the Hutch Blue Dragons, Randy Stang, who's at Johnson County. There's a kick, and again it was a squibber, but this time taken by the Blue Dragons right across midfield. Nifty stop right there, good hands, and Hutchinson will have short field conditions. They'll have it on the 48 of Ellsworth.
And that's one of those, it's not even a traditional onside. As you mentioned, the kicker kind of looking for that one guy he thinks he can get the ball into, because remember, if it hasn't gone 10 yards yet, you at least need it to bounce off of the opposing team for your team to have a shot at getting it legally. And you're right, Kendall Robinson just got his hands right on it, and the ball stuck right to him for the Blue Dragons.
Let's see who the Blue Dragons go. Cam Jones back there in the quarterback, and it's going to be Otis Williams, the running back. The turn to give to Otis Williams, trying to get around to the left side. Has some room. He's across the 40 to the 35 to the 30 and tripped up right there. And he falls all the way down to about the 28-yard line. Nifty move, nifty pickup by Otis Williams.
Well, and obviously Panther fans are going to want to hold on that one, but I tell you what, Brett Basler, what a great pancake block on that left side to open up the lane for Williams.
Yeah, 4:18 to go in this first quarter. We're tied at 7 apiece. Dragons on the run again. They'll have it 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line. They'll split wide out on the right side. Blue Dragons will move 2 players over on the left wing. Back in the shotgun is going to be Cam Jones. They'll give it off to Otis Williams, trying to turn that corner to the left side again. Gets a couple yards on the carry. A flag on the play. Let's see what it's about. It was thrown right at about the 30-yard line on the far side. You're near side, Darren.
Yeah, that time they probably are going to get the Blue Dragons for a hold, because you get an Ellsworth defender trying to get outside of the framework. And once you do that and you see a jersey tug, you typically drop a flag for a hold.
And that's exactly what the call is going to be with 3:56 remaining to go in this first quarter of play. Holding against the Blue Dragons. They'll back it up. Fog's starting to move in a little bit. We had the rain earlier, and that rain continues to be happening around the Des Moines area and to the east. And now also starting to see a little fog starting to move in. They'll march it back, and they'll mark the ball right out about the 37-yard line. So the Dragons 1st and 20 now from the 37-yard line of Ellsworth. Cam Jones, the quarterback. Otis Williams still in the backfield. They'll send a man in motion. Back to pass is Cam Jones across the middle. Throw is made incomplete. Not there.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, though, with those defenders slipping and not knowing what the route is. He had Aaron Shannon on that left side, but again, for at least the second time in this game, we've seen Cam Jones throw low.
So this will bring up a 2nd down and 10 situation. Again, from the Ellsworth 37-yard line. Blue Dragons huddle up. Sometimes they go with the the quick huddle, not this situation. Again, this is going to be a grind-out football game with lots of mud because of the rain. Started raining this morning, and we didn't get the brunt of it like Des Moines and all the way down through Omaha and even down into Kansas got. Cam Jones, the quarterback, takes the handoff to Otis Williams. A little play action here. Has plenty of time. Good coverage. Lofts a throw way down, double coverage, and I think it's going to be picked off. Boy, a lot of coverage down there against that throw, and the ball started wobbling, and Ellsworth was able to pick it off for the interception.
Bell, the guy who just nearly got beat a play ago out of that break, able to just kind of play safety back there on that one. And give credit to Cam Jones. He waited as long as he could to get rid of that ball. Took a pretty big shot. He got up, nothing but mud on his left side from his shoulder pads down to his knee pads.
Yeah, the only thing good about it is at the 2-yard line. So here comes Ellsworth. They'll have to go out of the shadows of their own end zone. With 3:28 to go, we're tied at 7 apiece, but they do have the football. Blue Dragons were set up after the Ellsworth kickoff for a short field, but were able to advance it down to about the 27, but then the penalty dropped them back to the 37. Now 1st and 10 from their own 2-yard line. Here's Ellsworth. Panther quarterback again, Paris Chambers. The turn, gives it to the running back straight up the middle. That's going to be Roberson, excuse me. And Roberson, who's out of Winter Haven, Florida, carries forward for a pickup of maybe a yard and a half.
You've been seeing Andy Jean-Baptiste do a lot of work on that defensive line, and that time he was able to make first contact and bring him down.
Yeah, positive pickup, but only about a half a yard. So still effectively 2nd down and 10. Blue Dragons defensively tighten it up a little bit. Chambers, the quarterback, he's still back in the shotgun now. As wideout trips on the left side, sends a man in motion right to left as you watch and listen. Back to passes. Chambers lost it across the middle, and it's over the head of everybody. Incomplete pass. 3rd down and 10 to call. Dragons with good coverage with Story Jackson down there on the coverage. Michael Witherspoon also was stride for stride with the offensive player. So that brings up a 3rd down and 10 situation from the Panther own 2-yard line. 2:42 to go in quarter number 1. We're tied at 7 apiece. Foggy, rainy conditions at Iowa Falls. We're on the Cadet Field here at Dale Howard Stadium here in Iowa Falls. Back to pass. They'll keep it. It's going to be Chambers on the carry. He will get a little or nothing, maybe a pickup of a yard on the play, or maybe a loss of a yard. And it looks like it's going to be a 4th down and about 10. We'll call it 4th and 10 from the 2-yard line. So Chambers tried to run it himself, was not able to get anything out of it.
One thing to make note of as well, these guys don't have a play clock down on the field. So kind of watching the back judge to see if they want to get close to the end of a snap when he puts that hand up to say, hey, you have 5 seconds left before the snap.
Clock moving along, 2:09, 2:08 to go in this first quarter of play. Dragons should get really good field position. Waller back at the Panther 40, waiting the punt. Ball's in and out of the punter's hand, slipped through, and that's what those wet conditions are going to do. It's going to be a safety. So the Dragons will take a 9-7 lead now, as well as also Ellsworth will have to kick off to the Blue Dragons. So there's your first weather-related, I'd say, incident, Darren, has just slipped right through the punter's hands.
Yeah, and it wasn't that it was a bad snap. I mean, it wasn't right in his numbers, but it was kind of upper left of his body into his top left shoulder pad. And when he got those hands up there, he didn't quite make that diamond pattern. You know how you put your index fingers together and your thumbs together? He didn't get those closed, and so that ball, like you mentioned, being wet, just squirted right out through his hands and out the back of the end zone.
So now here comes Ellsworth. They will kick off from their own 20. Again, the Blue Dragons should get pretty good field position out of this with 1:55 to go in quarter 1. Again, we're at Iowa Falls, which you wonder where Iowa Falls is. It's about an hour, 2 hours north of Des Moines, close to the Waterloo, Iowa area. We're actually 2 hours away from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And also 2 hours east of here is Field of Dreams. Darren, we should have went there.
Yeah, I understand if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, if they build it, they will come. There's no doubt about that. All right, here comes the kickoff. Ellsworth will kick it off from the 20. They'll kick it straight away, and it's going to be picked up finally at about the 22, 23-yard line, and finally trying to turn the corner for the Blue Dragons is going to be Edwards. Finds some room, gets across up the midfield. Flags come in flying from everywhere. He finally returned it to the 50. Steve Carpenter, to my left, said, oh my goodness, when he started to pick up the football. A 28-yard return. Let's see what the flags are.
It really didn't seem to be in an area of a hold. I didn't see a hand go up at the face mask either.
Looks like it could be against the way they're talking. It could be against Ellsworth. Let's check it. It's right at midfield is where the location of the football, actually at the 49 of Ellsworth. Pretty gutsy move right there for the Blue Dragons.
Yeah, it is the block in the back.
It is a block in the back, yeah.
Well, Glenn, it was a weird ball to try and field because the way it was sidewinding, it looked like it was going to roll out of bounds and you were going to get a free kick out of bounds penalty on the Panthers. Instead, as it was sidewinding one direction out of bounds, it hit that mud.
And just stopped.
And stopped and pulled itself back in bounds. So it had to be picked up because it was a live ball.
All right, ball is at the 41-yard line, so not that bad from the infraction. Puts it at the 41. So 1st and 10 Dragons from their own 41. The give to B.J. Emmons. He's back in there, tries to knife forward, picks up a yard and a half on the play. They'll mark it officially at about the 43-yard line. So let's give him 2. 2nd down and 8. Now where they're about to mark there, finally they moved the yard marker. The down marker on the far side back a yard. 2nd down, we'll call it a long 8 for the Blue Dragons. A minute 18 to go in this first quarter where the lead is 9-7 Dragons. The give to first man through and carrying it forward hard for the Blue Dragons is another new. That's going to be actually the fullback for Hutchinson with carrying the forward. Is that Jason Poe? Yeah, Poe rambles forward, picks up the first down. I love a fullback.
That's going to help his yards per carry. Before that, he was 1.5 yards per carry, and you like that in these muddy situations because you turn, he's right there and right in the middle of that offensive line.
John Perry is smiling from someplace right now because he loves the fullback, and of course that's the late John Perry that loved Blue Dragon football. They give up the middle, the guy driving down to the 45. They'll mark his forward progress right at the 45. Let's see who carried the ball. It's going to be Emmons back in there. BJ at the bottom of that stack, and nice pickup again, a 2-3-yard pickup. So 2nd down now, and we'll say about 7 to go for the Blue Dragons.
Yeah, Glenn, I was telling you before the game how nice these numbers were because it was the white on the red. You could see them from a long. Not so when mud is covering those numbers.
Panthers in their purple uniforms with white numerals, pretty easy to see. Cam Jones, the quarterback, 2nd down and 7. Sends a man in motion right to left and gives it back to Emmons. He has some room, battling for the first down. I think he has it across the 40 down to about the 47-yard line. They'll move the chains for a first down, or is it going to be short? I guess it is short. Now they're going to say 1st and 10. So they'll move the chains. And Hutchinson will have the football 1st and 10 on the Panther 37-yard line.
And with just 9 seconds left in this quarter, we'll see if the Blue Dragons run a play or wait until the second frame.
Yeah, now it's down to 4. They're going to have to hurry up if they get one off, and they will not, as that's going to stop the stoppage of play right there. And we will go to the second quarter of play. Dragons lead at 9-7, a 2-point lead, but driving right now inside Ellsworth territory. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls, Iowa, right after this 1-minute timeout. Well, welcome back to Iowa Falls, Iowa. Second quarter action, 9-7 your score. Dragons on top. Dragons with the football. Slippage in the backfield right after Emmons received the football. Legs came right out from underneath him, and those cleats are starting to get a little mud-soaked out there. Loss of 2 on the play. Second down and 12.
I mentioned in the pregame they've been doing everything they can to clean those cleats off. Another thing they've done is the water. Usually you stay hydrated that way. Well, the way it squirts out of the hose here, they've been trying to squirt the mud off the bottom of their cleats also.
Second down and 12 for the Blue Dragons. First half statistics, 22 offensive plays for the Blue Dragons and 148 yards and 9 points. Ellsworth with 11 plays for 66 yards and 7 points on the scoreboard. To turn around to give on the right side and running out of bounds on the far side, right and close to being right in front of you, Darren, is a nice nifty pickup by the Blue Dragons. It'll move the chains, 1st and 10.
Yeah, Desmond Jackson kind of giving these Panthers a look that they haven't seen much of on tape. I mean, they've seen a little bit of his 7.5 yards per carry, but he's a little different pace from those other 2 backs in Emmons and Waller.
Yeah, Jackson picked up 14 yards, moves the ball to the 27. Blue Dragons on the Panther 27, 1st and 10 now. Cam Jones down under center. He'll bend down, turn around, give a quick opener right up the middle. Gives the Poe, the fullback, up the middle, and there's maybe the ball popped loose. What do you see?
Well, I see the Panthers think that the ball popped loose and seem to think they haven't, but I think Poe maintained that possession even if it's came free for a second because the officials say second down.
The bottom of that stack was Demetrius Cadet for Ellsworth saying, hey, he thought he had the football. So second down and 7 now facing the Blue Dragons. More than like a 5. Second down and a long 5. So Hutchison will break center. Again, Cam Jones down under center. You're going to probably see him doing that a lot today because of the slickness of the ball. The turn to give, this is going to be Jackson again, up to about the 30-yard line, or 20-yard line, excuse me. Make pickup of another 2-3 yards. Third down and 2. So 3rd and 2 for the Blue Dragons from the Ellsworth 20-yard line. Blue Dragons passing got 15 yards in that first quarter. The 55-yard touchdown catch by Ellsworth was all their yardage. They'll split out wideouts on the right side. Cam Jones moves Poe over a little bit. The turn, the give to Jackson, nothing there. And nice job by Ellsworth to make the stop right there. Dropped him, and there's a flag on the play. This one's going to go against, I believe, the Blue Dragons.
Well, Glenn, you might even see an ejection here because some fists were thrown between Aaron Shannon and then, of course, Elijah Jones of the Panthers. So it started with Shannon because he felt like Jones did something he didn't like. I don't know if the officials saw it, but he did throw a punch. And then Jones threw one back. So don't be surprised if you have an ejection on both sides.
Yeah, it could be on both sides. Steve Carpenter just said the same thing. So let's see if they sort things out or not. And they will send a young man to the sideline. Unsportsmanlike on against the Ellsworth Panthers. And they do kick him out. So we'll double check to make sure on that. But right now it looks like there was an ejection.
Yeah, they're going to get number 8, Elijah Jones.
Jones.
I'll be surprised if they don't do the same for Shannon, but they haven't made that signal yet. You know how they say it's the second guy who gets it? I would definitely say that Jones was the second guy, and he got it.
And Jones has been ejected, and he will be headed to the locker room. They'll move the chains, and the Blue Dragons now will have it on the 10. So basically, 1st and goal from the 10.
The other thing, gloves are getting really wet. Jalen Irwin just threw his gloves to the sideline, and he's going just with his bare hands.
Darren, sideline reports brought to you by Jackson Mead, as well as Tycoon, Canisa, and Oliver's Beef and Brew. The carry up the middle, pickup of maybe one on the carries. Second down and goal now from the 9-yard line of Ellsworth for the Blue Dragons. Hutch leads 9-7 with 12-12 to go in his second quarter of play. Quick moving ball game. After he once got started at 3 o'clock, game delayed from the 1 o'clock kick.
That was Lee that time, and he could have gotten more out of it, but that bobbled high snap just slowed the timing down on it.
Ball on the 9, second and goal from the 9-yard line for Hutchison. Again, they've been in this situation about 3 times already, but only have 1 touchdown to show for it. Cam Jones, plenty of time, wants to throw it, and he runs right into the tackler, and down he goes. Cam just thought about starting to scramble a little bit, and he turns around, and one defender was right there after he missed him on the first whiff.
Yeah, Nick Ricks was back there waiting, and a lot of times you can escape the pocket out of the backside. Cam thought he had that opening. Not true, as Ricks was coming off the ground to make the tackle.
Timeout's going to be taken. I believe it's for an injury. Let's check and see and see what they actually called out down there. Looked like it might have been for an injury. It's going to be a 3rd down and 15 as Cam thought he was free, turned, and boom, he ran right into the defender. And they elected not to call timeout, so we'll keep it here. 3rd down and 15 now facing Hutchinson.
They could still get a 1st down, but they have to get inside the 1 to get it.
Waller back in a tailback now. Cam Jones out of the shotgun, rolls to his left side, wants to throw across. He's going to keep it, tucks it away, takes a hit inside the 15 down to about the 12-yard line, so he got a few yards out of it. It's going to be back to 4th down and 10, basically, like you said, right outside the 10-yard line. Field goal time for Luke Niemeyer.
Yeah, well, that's the decision to be made, and I think that's the right decision by Cam Jones, because with these conditions, you want to get as close as you can for your kicker, and Jones is staying out there.
Yep, sure is. Cam Jones is staying out there. So far, Niemeyer has not came in, so Coach rolling the dice a little bit here on 4th down. Let's see what he's going to call.
And again, if you get down by that 1st down marker, you might as well score because it's almost right by the pylon.
All right, they break huddle. Otis Williams into the lineup now. Wide outs out on the left and right side, a slot back. They'll send that slot man in motion from left to right.
And the Blue Dragons will have to take a timeout because the play clock was running out.
Yeah, play clock running out, so they will take a timeout. We'll take a quick half-minute break. Blue Dragons 9, Ellsworth Panthers 7. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls right after this 30-second timeout. Well, the Blue Dragons leading at 9-7, have the football deep inside of Panther territory. It's 4th down and 11, or 4th down and, right around 11 from the 11.5-yard line. Basically, like you said, about a foot. They can get a 1st down there, but essentially looks like they might try to go to the end zone here, and they're going to try to go for it. Cam Jones back in the shotgun. Otis Williams right behind him. They'll send a man in motion. The turn wants to throw it away, and nothing there. And fell down right at about the 15-yard line. They'll mark it a loss on the play, big time, and Ellsworth will take over. So the Panthers are fired up. Darren, not a well-designed play right there. Looked like they're going to throw the football to the deep corner left, and he just didn't have time.
Yeah, the defender coming off the edge just had a free rein right at Jones. Didn't have anybody down the field either. The coverage was good down into the end zone.
1st and 10 from the 20 for Ellsworth. So the drive stalled right there. Blue Dragons had it right at the 11, could not get it in. So Hutchinson defense called out on the field once again. Chambers will send a man in motion to turn. Little loose football is loose on the field. They did that for it. Dragons say they haven't. Let's see what they call.
They do.
Yes, Hutchinson comes up with another fumble. 10:07 to go in this second quarter of play. Hutchinson again in business inside of Ellsworth territory. Just see who got on the football.
Yeah, Xavier Jackson. Just look what I found in the backfield after the mishap on the exchange. He came crawling in and picked it up.
All right, that'll set up 1st and 10 from the 17 now, from the Panther 17 for Hutchinson. Offense stalled this last possession just seconds ago. Blue Dragons would love to get a score here in this opportunity. They've lived in the Ellsworth half of the field so far today, but only have a 2-point lead. That's off the safety that occurred earlier back in the first quarter. Cam Jones to give to Edmonds. He dances a little bit, picks up a yard and a half maybe, across the 15, right around to the 16. They're going to go with the jumbo formation now. Edmonds helps a Panther up off the ground, and they'll back up and get set. Pickup of about, we'll give you 3. 2nd down and 7 now for Hutchinson.
Well, anytime you take 6 foot, 237, against somebody who's 6'5", 280. You think the 6'5", 280 is going to win every time? Well, B.J. Emmons has been running over the top of the much bigger Demetrius Cadell all afternoon.
Blue Dragons dot the I with Emmons. He's going to turn around the left side, mouse his way through, trying to muscle his way down all the way inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. BJ's helmet comes off, and he's going to have to check out again. Boy, that was just a bull run right there by B.J. Emmons. Worked his way around on that left side and kept going after it. Ends up picking up the 1st and goal situation, or where did they mark the football? Yeah, 1st and goal from the 6. This is a true turf field, not a turf field, but grass field, and the yard markers were maybe laid down, back in September, Carp, maybe?
No one is on Jalen Irwin.
The turn to give over the right side for the Blue Dragons, and they'll stuff it back there. Brings up a 2nd down and goal. Little or no gain.
Yeah, gave the ball to Devin Miller that time to see what he could find, and there wasn't anything to find.
Miller would check out. Blue Dragons went with jumbo right before that. Let's see what they go with here. And when we talk jumbo, they just put as many big body guys up front as they can. Usually go to Emmons in the backfield. Let's see who they have in there now. Lee-Ray Watson's back in there as well. Here's Jackson. They give it up the middle. Little or no gain. 3rd down and goal now. They're going to be right from the 5-yard line. So 3rd and goal from the 5 from the Blue Dragons.
Yeah, just not much of a push to be made up the middle. This is a good spot now that you've tried to go up the middle a couple of times and it's been stuffed. Up the middle and then be able to get to the outside, whether it be on a pass or a rollout into the end zone.
3rd down and goal for the 5-yard line for Hutchison. Emmons back into the ball game now. B.J. Emmons for the Blue Dragons. Emmons out of Morgantown, North Carolina. Cam Jones, the quarterback, and the shotgun. They'll move to the left side now to the tight end shot. Wideouts left and right. Timeouts taken by the Blue Dragons. Did not have the proper formation that they needed out there. A timeout will be taken. We're going to get a break in as well. Hutchison leads at 9-7 with 7:45 to go in quarter 1. 3rd down and 5 from the 5 coming. We'll be back in a half minute.
Well, that was my thought, but can't come back on the field.
All right. Timeout was taken by the Blue Dragons, as they're facing a 3rd down and 5 from the 5-yard line of the Panthers. They'll break huddle and from the sidelines. Let's see what they're going to call. Blue Dragons have pumped power right up the middle, but haven't got much done. The stout Panther defense. Emmons still in there. They'll split wideouts left and right, and they'll send a man in motion. Cam Jones wants to pass, throws it over in the deep corner right, catch is made, but then dropped. Incomplete pass brings up 4th down. Right in front of you, Darren.
Yeah, Johnny Lumpkin has been such a good receiver lately, and that time he had it. It was that back shoulder throw over the top of the defender. He got up, grabbed the ball high, had it above the defender's helmet, but then before he came down, he looked down into the back of the end zone to make sure he was in bounds, and that's when the ball got away from him.
So now a 22-yard field goal for Luke Niemeyer. He'll eye the kick. Here's the hold. The place is down, and it's up, and it's on its way, and it is good. And with that kick, Luke Niemeyer becomes the most prolific kicker on Blue Dragon history, as he surpassed John Mesh with that kick with 7:36 to go in quarter number 2. Michael Mesh, excuse me. 12-7 ball game. Dragons on top. We'll take a break, and a Dragon kickoff coming your way in a half a minute. Hutchinson with the lead at 12-7. Awaiting the Hutchinson kickoff is the Panthers of Ellsworth. 7:36 to go in quarter number 2, and the Blue Dragons were able to put 3 on the board, and all-time leading kicker now, Luke Niemeyer's had a good career. He will get set to toe the football here and approaches. Here's the kick. It's squibbed again, this time on the left side. Takes a bounce. Touched by an Ellsworth player. Finally picked up by a Panther. Still loose on the run around the outside and finally dropped at about the 15. Good special teams effort there by the Blue Dragons. Well, they had an opportunity as a Panther touched it. It was live ball. It was picked up again by the Panthers. This time they went backwards, and nice special teams there, Darren.
Yeah, Drew Harvey had the first shot at him, and he was able to slip free, and then he kind of went back a few more yards before Henderson was able to bring him down.
Darren's comments brought to you by Oliver's Beef and Brew, Tycoon Kinesiology, and Jackson Meat, all fine sideline sponsors this year for the Blue Dragon football team. Glad to have those fine sponsors along. But Oliver's Beef and Brew with that $1 kids menu on Saturday with a paid entree from the adult. Can't beat that. They're open till 2 a.m. today. All right, back in the shotgun again is Paris Chambers. Gives to the first man through, and that looks to be Roberson, and picks up a little bit on the play, not much. Second down, we'll still call it 10. Is that a 5-point lead with 7:14 to go? Darren, we kind of felt with the field conditions this was going to be this type of game.
Yeah, it is that type of game, but keep in mind the Blue Dragons fumbled at the 1 and just dropped a touchdown for 6, so it could easily be even farther spread than 5 points.
Well, loose football as the ball was not snapped. Chambers is still standing there. And let's see what the call's going to be. Now they throw the flag.
They're going to get a snap infraction on the center.
Snap infraction on the center is what was indicated. So thank you, Darren. 6:56 to go in this first half of play. We're in the second quarter. At halftime, we'll talk with Steve Kapanen, the assistant athletic director for the Blue Dragons. So it's going to be a second down, and they're going to march it back and make it 2nd and 15.
Yeah, and that ball is so slick. They've gotten rid of it. They've brought in a new ball because it was one of those, we talk about how slippery it is. I think when he went to snap it, it slipped out. So he makes that motion, and that's why the defensive line for the Dragons came across, and he had to give the snap infraction against the Panthers.
All right, 6:52 remaining to go in this second quarter. Chambers back in the shotgun this time. Here comes the snap. He'll turn. Roberson to running back. Nothing there. Picked up, maybe got 2 back. 3rd down and 12 now facing the Panthers from their own 11-yard line. Or 3rd down 11, excuse me. I'm having a terrible time picking up the field placement of the ball. They're going to mark it right at the 11. All right. Chambers comes down and changes the play. Now he steps back. Paris Chambers, the quarterback. Tries to pull the Dragons off. Here's the snap. Loose football. It's on the field, and Chambers jumps on it and stops it right there. Loss on the play brings up a 4th down and punting situation for the Ellsworth Panthers.
Just never got a hold of the ball. And again, it wasn't a bad snap. That one was right there in his hands, but it's so slick, unable to hang on to it. He's been known this season for taking care of the football, but you throw in conditions like this, and we've seen it's been really hard for Chambers to keep a grip on it.
The rain started this morning, and it looks like they maybe had already received some rain up here because this is really a soggy field. We really didn't get that much early this morning, more just sprinkling precipitation, but it's all state to the south of it. We're lightning a lot of rain around the Des Moines, Waterloo area. Here comes the high snap. He gets the kick away, though. It's a returnable, bounces at the 30, takes a Panther bounce, and they're just going to let it roll away as they stopped it before the kick. Let's see, they'll bring it back and kick again.
Yeah, it's at the line of scrimmage. You would think that you had someone offsides or a false start. The officials are talking about it now.
So they're either, like you said, Darren, a false start. See if it's against the defense. Now keep in mind, we've already had one safety with the ball going in and out of the punter's hands, and he's back in that same situation again, trying to punt the football. Back to receive the snap is going to be Austin Keeneland. as he is the punter out of Waterloo, Iowa. And the last time he was in this situation, it went right between his fingertips for the safety. So 4th down and 20, ball on the 2-yard line. Blue Dragons with a golden opportunity to either get a return or maybe force another safety. Here comes the snap, long snap count. There's the snap. It's a good one. He gets the kick away, and a pretty good kick. Fair catch is going to be called, and it's going to be taken right at the 35-yard line for the Blue Dragons. So 1st and 10 for the Blue Dragons from the Panther 35-yard line. Darren, you can't ask for better than that.
Well, no, and you can't ask for better than how long the Blue Dragons have had the football in this game. You know, earlier you mentioned the snap count was 22 offensive plays for the Blue Dragons and half of that, 11 for the Panthers. And that's big in this game. If you can possess the ball on offense, even though you don't come away with 14 points that they probably left off the board, you're still in control of this ball game the more you have it offensively.
Yeah, in the first quarter of play, 9:55 time of possession for the Blue Dragons, 5:05 for Ellsworth. Man in motion for the Blue Dragons. They'll give up the middle. Wallace Blake's just kept right out from underneath him, picked up still a couple yards on the play, or they're going to say it right at the 35. So they'll mark it right there. No game on the play. Well, his feet just came right out from underneath him. Like to talk to Deshaun, looked like he was on the ice skates out there.
Well, I think that's why you see a lot of these right up the gut types of plays. You know, early we saw some runs just outside to the left to right tackle for big gains, but once we started people slipping and that rain set in, they've been going up in between the guards more often than not.
Well, from this perspective, that looks like the better grass out there to be able to run on, so I'm kind of surprised they're not getting outside. Here's Waller. He'll knife through the line of scrimmage, trying to make something out of nothing. He does pick up about 5-6 hard-earned yards. So 3rd down and 4 for the Hutch Blue Dragons inside of Panther territory. They'll officially mark it right at the 30.
In a game like this, even though you're out at the 30, you're thinking 4-down territory, just because at best to try for a field goal, you probably need to get down to at least the 18.
Panthers 3 losses this year. Garden City pounded them 31-7 opening weekend. Dodge City got them 36-30. Then they lost last weekend in triple overtime, 44-38 to Independence. They give up the middle, wide open running there, and it finally, there's a cloud of mud, I should say, not dirt, and a nice carry by the Blue Dragons forward for the 1st down. Just working hard, trying to get it done. Nice job by Otis Williams, number 23 for the Blue Dragons. Boy, you like that, Darren. Spurts right through there. I mean, literally spurts through there and was able to pick up the 1st down.
Well, he's able to get up just behind his left guard and have a big old 6'2" guard shield you and kind of dance around in there where the holes are.
39 carries, 208 yards for the Blue Dragons so far in this contest. Cam Jones gives it away. Otis dancing a little bit. Doesn't get much out of the. See where they're going to actually mark that football. They had it on the 18. Let's see if they move it inside a little bit more.
So basically in dry conditions, you say it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, but
here it's 3 yards in a puddle of mud.
Puddle of mud or a clump of mud, you should say. 2nd down and 10 now from the 18-yard line for Hutchison, the Panther 18-yard line. Hutch has had the ball inside of Panther territory just about all day long. Hutch with a man in motion, left to right, goes the wide receiver. Now set up on the slot side on the right side. Back to pass, Cam Jones looks left, trying to go across the middle. Catch is made. They're going to mark it right inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. That'll move chains, I believe. If not, it's doggone close.
It's a 1st down. He had Alan Bishop on a wheel route if he wanted him on my side. And what was funny, Bishop went in motion. And you know, in motion, typically you're in control of your movements. You come to a complete stop. He couldn't even come to a complete stop. It was so muddy where he decided to stop in his motion.
1st and goal from the 8-yard line for the Blue Dragons of Hutchinson. They'll split a wide out on the left side this time again. Kareem Gibson, he'll go in motion now. Cam rolls out on the wheel route out there. Finally gets it away all the way down to the 1-yard line. Nifty catch made by the Blue Dragons.
There's Leroy Watson, the fourth again over there. The ball came free after the play, but they'll say he had possession of it when he came down.
The pylon came up, but they're going to say it's right at the 1. So 2nd and 1 goal from the 1-yard line for the Blue Dragons. Cam Jones getting the play and See who they have at running back. Otis Williams still out there, I believe. No, it's Lee. Lee's going to be the running back for the Blue Dragons of Hutch.
Nigel Moore also came in with a clean jersey at receiver.
Yeah, I like those clean jerseys coming in there. A little quarterback keeper by Cam Jones. Touchdown, Cam Jones. With a minute and 25 to go in the second quarter of play. Dragons now up 18-7 on top of Ellsworth. And point after touchdown kick coming your way in just a second. So a nifty drive by the Blue Dragons. After they had the short field, which they have had this whole first half of play, with a minute and 25 now to go in this second quarter of play. Niemeyer eyes it, flag on the play before the snap. Let's see what the call is going to be.
You get an illegal substitution on the Blue Dragons.
Ellsworth will be at Fort Scott next week. Blue Dragons will be home to take on the Butler Grizzlies.
Oh, I take it back. The substitution was on the Panthers.
On the Panthers. On the Panthers, yeah. And
we're gonna maybe go for two here because you've moved the ball down half the distance to the goal and you're at the 1. But coach wants to put the ball on the left hash. The officials are making that adjustment.
Yep, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to move it to the left hash. 18-7 is your score. Blue Dragons on top of the minute and 25 to go. Glenn Grunwald in the second quarter. Glenn Grunwald along with Darren Dunn. Live from Iowa Falls, Iowa. Chief engineer back on the board. Larry Stoneside for doing a great job. Here they break from the sideline huddle, and Blue Dragons will come in. Let's see if they're going to go for it here or not. I don't see Niemeyer out there, so I believe they are. Watson sets up in the slot. Got Lumpkin out on the left side. Back in there's B.J. Emmons. Back to pass. They'll go for Lumpkin on the outside. He tries to get to the ball. Cannot. Incomplete pass. And the Dragons do not get the extra point. So a minute and 25 to go in this second quarter of play. Hutchison will get set to kick off when we return right after this 30-second timeout. Well, the Blue Dragons got the touchdown. They lead it 18-7, but did not get the extra point. As after the infraction goes against Ellsworth, they thought maybe they could go for 2. The pass was wide left out of bounds, and that's where it stands with a minute and 25 to go in the second quarter of play. And Darren, interesting conditions makes for an interesting ball game. That's what we have with an interesting score at 18-7.
Yeah, I like the decision to throw to the big 6'6" frame of Johnny Lumpkin. The only thing was he only put one hand out there to try and pull the ball in.
Here's another squibber. Goes left side. Is going to be picked up by Ellsworth right at the 16-yard line. They'll roll to the left side on the run, and it's going to be stacked up. Nice stop by the Blue Dragons. As coming across was Tace Fazia, and a nice stop by Hutchinson, quickly coming in there to make the stop.
Normally he's a good returner. He averages 27 yards a return, but he has no footing underneath him. And the advantage goes to that player who's a little bit slower but understands the angles of the game in a situation like this, because those guys who just try to outdo you with their speed, they don't have that speed. It's taken away from them now. So if mentally you can outplay your opponent, you have a much better chance of winning your one-on-ones on a muddy field.
One game has been moved to Sunday already, the Indy and Highland game, due to weather conditions earlier today. So one KJCCC game will be moved to Sunday. And that's a big one right there with Highland and Independence we talked about on Countdown. They give up the middle. That's ball carrier is going to be Roberson, and he barely gets on track. Yeah, maybe up to about the 29-yard line, giving him official marking. 2nd down and 6. As we near inside of a minute now in the second quarter of play. Understand severe thunderstorm warnings continue around Cottonwood Falls back in Kansas now. I know that K-State game and TCU game was delayed starting today because of lightning strikes. KU is actually playing up here. It's finished now with Iowa State. There's a give up the middle, pretty conservative call, and a little bit of a gain. Going to bring up a 3rd down and about a yard and a half for the Ellsworth Panthers.
Yeah, and I knew I was in Iowa when they announced over the PA the score of that game, and it was 45-0, and they were cheering. Normally you get that groan, right, in Kansas? Oh, here they're like, all right, right on.
18 seconds to go before the end of the quarter. See if they get another one off. They should. And it's 3rd down and short. Again, Chambers, the quarterback, wants to give to his running back. Nothing there as the lace just came right out from beneath Robertson. He literally looked like he was ice skating, and that's the end of the quarter. So the half his time is here, and the Blue Dragons take to the dressing room with an 18-7 lead at intermission. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. Add up all the numbers. Blue Dragons lead at 18-7 from Iowa Falls, Iowa. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
They can do it down there.
Huh?
They can do it out over there.
No. I don't know where he's at. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Iowa Falls, Iowa. We're at halftime, 18-7. Blue Dragons of Hutchinson are on top, and they lead the Ellsworth Panthers 18-7. Interesting first half of play. It's time for the Medicine Shop in-game capsule. Hey, I heard Rusty talk about last night how he went and got his flu shot. I got mine a couple weeks ago. You can get yours there, too. A lot of people don't realize that you can just go and get your flu shot right at the Medicine Shop, and yes, you can. Lacey does a great job, and they're available right there. Easy to get. You can also get your pneumonia shot. So stop in and see that. It's that time of the year. Don't get caught without getting your flu shot in the Medicine Shop. You want deliveries? They'll do that as well. Again, they're located right there at the Little White Castle at 14th and Main. They do a great job of supporting athletics and other programs right in the Hutchinson area, and you'll be glad that you chose the Medicine Shop if you wish to. Let's take a look at the stats, the quickie stacks on the first half. Total offensive plays for the Blue Dragons, 43 plays, 226 yards. You had passing yards of that of 32, 194 yards on the ground, and 35 totes for the Blue Dragons. Ellsworth held to 87 total yards on 18 plays, 12 of those from the rush. The others were 6 from the pass. They have only 55 yards in the passing situation. Leading for Blue Dragons, the rusher for Blue Dragons is B.J. Emmons with 11 carries, 68 yards. Total, he averaging 5.9 carries a game. Desmond Jackson, again off the bench, with 7 carries, 56 yards. Otis Williams toted it 3 times for 33 yards. And Deshaun Waller with 5 carries for 20 for the Blue Dragons. Cam Jones, 5 of 8 with 1 interception, 32 yards total, 1 TD. His longest was a 10-yard pass, sacked a couple times. Receiving, 2 catches. Leroy Watson for 15 yards and a touchdown included in that. Blue Dragons got on the board with 4:46 to go in the first quarter of play with a Watson catch from a 8-yard pass from Cam Jones. Point after touchdown was good. It was 7-0 Hutchinson. A short kick, or a good return, that is, by Ellsworth, put it at the 45, and right after that, Greenhaw brought in a pass from Chambers for 55 yards out. The point after touchdown was good, and we're tied at 7 apiece. Blue Dragons got a safety with 1:55 to go in the quarter number 1 to make it 9-7. And then Hutchinson just a little while ago also got a 22-yard field goal for the Blue Dragons to make it at 12-7. And Hutchinson with a Cam Jones 1-yard run makes it 18-7. Here's the numbers for Ellsworth. Paris, 3 carries, 21 yards. Also Roberson, 5 carries for 20 yards. Barnett with 2 carries for 3 yards. Your team total with, again, a net of a -9. Good defense by the Blue Dragons. Paris Chambers, 3 out of 7 for 55 yards. That was his touchdown. And the Blue Dragons being led by in tackles with Quinn Head right now. Smith with tackles leading it for the Ellsworth Community College Panthers. It is 18-7 at halftime. Blue Dragons lead it. We're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout and talk to Steve Kapperman, my guest at halftime, the Associate Athletic Director of the Blue Dragons. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back right after this. Get that headset.
Yeah. 6-0. Scott called me. He was worried Gardner wasn't going to show up. It was about 3:25, and nobody was there yet. Or 2:25? Yeah. So they was warming up for maybe like 20 minutes. I don't know how you'd be prepared for a soccer game. Do you have the session?
Here you go.
Got plenty of them. I like the poncho there.
Thank you.
Jayhawks. We'll get them in basketball season.
Yeah. Then I'll come back.
The Iowa State fans were cheering a little loud there.
Yeah. I knew I was in Iowa when that happened.
This is not the great day for me to try to stat this by myself.
I know it. You're doing a good job now.
Oh, I know. That first play got.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Iowa Falls. We're at Cadet Field and also at Dale Howard Incorporated Stadium right here. Dale Howard is a Ford dealer here in Hutchinson. Now joining me in Iowa Falls, Now joining me here in the press box is Steve Kapperman, the Assistant Athletic Director of the Blue Dragons of Hutchinson. Steve, we're only 2 hours away from one of your favorite places on the earth. You know that? Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I wasn't sure we were talking about the Field of Dreams or the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, so you're the actual athletic department representative here. You and your wife made the trip up and got a little soggy conditions, but a nice score at halftime, 18-7. Dragons lead it.
I am. My wife took the day off of work, so I appreciate that on Friday. And this is my first trip up here, so I've heard a lot of stories from my boss about Ellsworth, so now I'm starting to see him with my own eyes.
Of course, Josh Gooch several years ago was the head football coach here for some time. Like kind of a little lazy community, pretty when you drive across, come across the bridge. Nice little area here.
Yeah, it's very nice here, nice town. I went on campus and had a nice lunch on the main street there. There was a lot going on, so it seemed like everybody was excited about the game today.
How's everything going so far with the athletic department on this fall as we got sports going on? All the fall sports are going. Golf just got started going not too long ago. Or basketball, we're getting close with that. That's just a couple weeks away as Blue Dragons will open at home, but then we're going to go on the road right away. So I think a lot of anticipation with the two different volleyball tournaments that are coming in, the KCAC tournament as well as also, of course, the NJCAA tournament, but that sends the basketball teams on the road.
Yeah, we got a couple guys working the concession stand back home at the KCAC, and then Scott Brooks, my coworker, is at soccer right now, and I saw on Twitter they're up 6-0 on Garden City, so things are going well there. Basketball, we have a couple scrimmages coming up, so that's pretty exciting. On the 19th, the guys will play Sunrise, so that's always fun to see those guys, see where Sunrise is from, and kind of see how we match up. And then on the 25th, the women will play Emporia State. So both those should be good tests early, and I think a lot of people will come and watch those.
Why don't you tell folks out there exactly what are your responsibilities when it comes to game day as well as during the week as well? I know you help with lots of sponsorships as well. You and Scott kind of split two different duties right there. It takes a lot to get things done, but what's your primary duties on a game day situation, for example?
My main job during the week is eligibility and compliance and all the letters of intent and paperwork for the team. And then on game day, a lot of operations. Scott is handling all the ticketing and getting everything set there as far as getting the fans into the game. My main task would be the concession stand, making sure that's stocked up, money's ready, everything's ready to go there, everybody's in place. We have a huge crew of student workers this year, so they've been a godsend. They're so helpful. We've had them at every football game, every volleyball match, and you know they're like worker bees. They made our job so much easier and just made the game day product better.
I think also what a lot of people don't understand, when you're at Hutchinson, you got several other events to contend with. You got 3A state football tournament, football game that is always there. The championship in 3A is always played. A lot of responsibility falls on you with that. Then you got the 3A basketball tournament that comes to town, and now with the remodeling of the sports arena, you're going to see a lot more events that are going to fall within your guys' lap.
Yeah, national volleyball should be exciting. I went to Casper one year and kind of saw what that was all about. It'd be nice to have it here, and hopefully the girls can get in and have that home court advantage. 3A football is always fun, as long as the weather is better than it is today.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years ago we had that ice bowl, so I don't want to relive that against Rossville and Collegiate. But usually we have a basketball game that day, and I know we're on the road that day. I believe that in Neosho, so we'll probably split up. One of us will go there. And then all of us, I think, are making the trek to Independence pretty soon in a couple weeks.
Yep.
When we play at 9 o'clock on the 28th.
Maybe we play at 9 o'clock. It could be even later than
later.
that, but that's coming up on the 28th. We got a lot of football to play between now and then there, as well as back at home as well. So who's in charge of game day officials and things like that? Where does that fall?
Game day officials, Scott notifies every official ahead of time, no matter what sport it is. He'll call them and just make sure we're good to go. They're all paid through a computer system, so we don't have to worry about that. And then every event, we're getting them towels, waters, anything they need. We want to go the extra mile, have a post-game meal for them, and just make it so they think Hutch is top-notch, and the hospitality there is great. And you get to know those guys and gals and kind of develop those relationships with them, and it's kind of fun to see the familiar faces. And we like to give them a hard time when they roll into the arena or our football stadium and they got some other school on.
Yep.
We like to kind of tease them a little bit.
Make it a little bit tough there. Where are you from originally? Where's hometown?
Where am I from originally? I was born in Bismarck, North Dakota, but I grew up in Hutchinson since I was 2 years old. So.
And a big KU fan, went to KU
big
as well.
KU fan, went to Hutch High, went to Hutchinson Community College.
Did that hurt a little bit when the big when they announced the Iowa State game?
That was hurtful because when I was at KU we were good and we won the Orange Bowl. So I don't know what this bad football stuff's about. Yep. We had a good basketball team.
How in the world did you become a Minnesota Viking fan?
Minnesota Viking fan. My dad and mom are from South Dakota.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
I think you're either a Viking fan or a Packer fan, and thankfully I'm a Viking fan. And my dad brainwashed me at a young age, so that's just my team, and It's been some struggles lately. If we could find a quarterback, that would be great.
The biggest hockey fan I know is Steve Carpenter. And you got to be a hockey fan if you're from around that area as well.
You know, I've been to one NHL game, and I really enjoyed it, but it's just so hard around Hutch to catch a good hockey game. So I watched the Penguins one time in Pittsburgh, and that was pretty entertaining.
Talk about Hutchinson facility, especially with the sports arena, the renovation that took place last year. The whole athletic department was upended and moved basically on campus, and that had to be hard to kind of do your job from over there. What was your thoughts on that, kind of being removed away from where you kind of needed to be?
It was a real test for our staff. I just felt like we were always hauling things back and forth from Lockman Hall, from that little auditorium there, to either the arena. Some things at Gallons were actually easier because we were close by. But I'm very thankful to be in our new office. We had a big meeting this week, and all the staff on campus came into our office area, and they were like, "Wow, this is so nice. You know, you guys must love being over here." And it was just nice to be proud and kind of show that off a little bit to everybody on campus.
Well, and also you look at the old facility used to have, you basically had a table over in the corner that was in one big open room. Steve Carpenter's desk was right to your left when you came in, and Scott's right to your right, where Carol Pope, when she retired, was right there. I mean, it is nice to have what you have, but you've also been on the other end of it.
Yeah, Josh and Dr. Fowle did a great job of lining out that area and kind of giving everybody their own space so they could do their job. And just making it a good workplace.
We're at halftime right now, talking with Steve Kappenman. The Blue Dragons leading 18-7 at halftime, about 6 minutes away from the start of the second half of play. Real quick, Steve, why did you decide to go into athletic administration, and just what kind of tweaked your interest to go into that field as a career?
Just always loved sports, and I was lucky enough to work for Steve Carpenter over here doing stats when I was a college student at HCC, and that kind of got me hooked, and went on to KU and kept doing it there, and did an internship with the former Kansas City Wizards, and that just I was hooked there. So that's kind of, as a kid, I always liked sports, so that I just got me hooked from there on.
Recommendations to any kids that are on campus at HCC that might be listening, or even kids at home that are in high school that are selecting a school to go to and also wanting to go into this field, what would you suggest they do?
Just experience is key. I mean, we have a crew of kids right now that we're just outgoing and wanted to be a part of our athletic department. So I'd say just find a way to volunteer or be a part of it as an athletic trainer, or video, or a game day operations kid, and then you can see if you like it or not. I mean, why would you want to go to school for that many years and then go into something and really not know what you're getting into?
All right. Hey, you better say thank you to somebody back home, because you guys are kidless this weekend.
Yeah, I got to thank my mom and dad who are watching our little one.
They're tied up right now in a closet somewhere. You know that.
My dad is watching the game, and he said the stream looks great. So, I got to thank them for watching Landry. So
outstanding.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you stopping
Thanks,
by.
man.
Steve Kopperman, the fine associate athletic director, assistant athletic director at Hutch Community College. We're going to take a 1-minute timeout. Darren Dunn will now come back and talk about this contest. 18-7 at halftime. Blue Dragons on top. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Thanks, Glenn. There's a Vikings hat right there. Vikings hat right there. Where do you want this at?
Just right there.
Out the window?
Yeah, I'll stick it out the window. Just stick the mic out there. Whoop, it's on my feet. Hold on.
I've been thinking about the Field of Dreams all game.
All right. Huh?
I've been thinking about the Field of Dreams all day.
Slide down there. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, Darren, I think that's mine.
Yeah, we switched umbrellas. We both have black ones, yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Iowa Falls, Iowa. 18-7, and we're at halftime. Let's run down your scores from other scores that are going on. Iowa Western with the final right now. They win over Garden City 41-14. Of course, that's a non-league encounter with Garden City. 41-14 was the final there. And the other game in progress is our own right here. 18-7, Blue Dragons on top at halftime. Later this evening, Fort Scott is out at Dodge City. That's a 6 o'clock start. That's going to be taking place, and also a 7 p.m. start. NEO out of Oklahoma is at Coffeyville. That is being played at the Veterans Memorial Stadium at Coffeyville as well. Butler with a rare a game against Air Force Prep. That's a 7 o'clock start tonight. That is being played over in El Dorado, Kansas, as well. And the Indy and Highland game has been pushed to 1 o'clock tomorrow. That will be at Highland. So a 1 o'clock game tomorrow. Indy at Highland. They have postponed that game from earlier that was to be played today. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout, get set for the second half of play. Blue Dragons 18, Ellsworth, Iowa 7. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Iowa Falls. 18-7, Blue Dragons on top. Iowa Falls, Iowa. We're at Cadet Field and Dale Howard Stadium, and a big safety in that first quarter gave the Blue Dragons a 9-7 lead, and they were extending that with a 1-yard Cam Jones touchdown run to make it 18-7. And we're about set for the kickoff that's going to be coming for the Blue Dragons as Ellsworth won the toss, but elected to defer to the second half, end-over-end kick, finally taken at about the 15-yard line, trying to find some room on the left side, and nothing there, up across the 30 to the 35. So pretty nifty return, although it was taken up short on this muddy field. It's foggy conditions. It's rainy conditions. We're just to the north a little bit of the primarily rain, but that field, you could tell this natural grass field with a lot of mud down on it, causing some problems, at least in the first half of play. So here we go, Ellsworth with the football, as they will have the first possession of the second half. They trail at 18-7, but very much in this football game. They struck from 55 yards out back in the first quarter to tie it at 7 apiece. Still at quarterback is Paris Chambers. Again, I mentioned before, he's out of Mobile, Alabama. He's a good one. He's going to keep it himself. Kind of a delayed draw. Gets some opening. He's across the 50 to the 45 inside of Blue Dragon territory, and finally dropped down there, and they'll mark it at the 43, 41-yard line.
This is what you have to remember. This team was down 31-13 last week before forcing Independence into 3 overtimes.
Yeah, that was kind of a delayed draw by Paris Chambers to decide to run with the football. They'll move the chains. They'll mark it a 24-yard pickup. They'll move it. It'll be a 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line for the Panthers. That would be the Blue Dragon 41-yard line. You're exactly right, Darren Dunn, as he was able to move it down pretty effectively. So 1st and 10 for the 41 now for the Panthers. Chambers looks to the sidelines, gets the call, steps up a couple feet. Now he's going to step back. He's going to be right at the 46. Long snap count. Here comes the snap. It's a good one. Wants to throw the football over on the right side. He's got a receiver out there. There's a push away. The catch is made. What are they going to call? The catch is made as there was you could really see it, a push away, but the catch was made, and it is good for the 1st down. Again, Greenhall with the catch out there.
I think that's what you saw in the first half. They were just kind of a good pass away from a play like that, and finally they connect on one.
1st and 10. They moved the ball deep inside of Blue Dragon territory. 1st and goal is actually going to be called from the 6. Greenhall made the stop out there. Chambers looks to the sidelines. Now he checks off on the play. They'll send wideouts on the right and on the left. Twins on both sides. The give up the middle, keeper all the way down to about the 1-yard line. Roberson on the carry. Roberson's their main go-to back. We're just started the second half of play. We're in the 3rd quarter. 13:39 to go in this 3rd quarter play. Hutchinson leading 18-7, but Ellsworth knocking on the door right now. Ball on the 1, 2nd down and goal from the 1. Back in the shotgun. Chambers are going to keep it. He's going to be thrown for a loss. Nifty stop out there by the Blue Dragons.
Caleb Bryce got there in the backfield ready to make the stop. He was also helped by the fact that Chambers slipped.
Brings up a 3rd down and goal call. Loss of a couple on the play, and we'll mark it officially at the 2nd, at the 2-yard line. 2nd on the 2-yard line, 3rd down and 2 from the 2. Sends a man in motion. Chambers back in the shotgun. He's got a running back on his hip in the person of Roberson. Gives it to Roberson. He'll knife inside, pretty close for the touchdown, and yes, he will. He'll score from 2 yards out. So Roberson on the carry. Takes it in the scores. Young man out of Winter Haven, Florida, makes it 18-13 now with 12:48 to go in this 3rd period. Dragon lead is cut to 5, and point after attempt forthcoming.
And Chambers is staying out here. This team is going to go for 2.
They're going to elect to try to get 2 down if they can. So Roberson back in now as well. So 18-13. They can make it 18-15. It'll be a 1-possession game. They send the man in motion. It's going to be a passing situation. No, he's going to carry it around on the right side himself. I think he's going to be short of the 2-point conversion as the Dragons were able to come up and make the big stop.
Well, we've seen the emergence of Jeff Mario Brown and able to make a big play there on that 2-point try.
So with 12:48 to go in this 3rd period of play, Ellsworth got on the board to make it 18-13. Blue Dragons with the lead. The Ellsworth kickoff coming your way in a half minute. Well, what you got to watch out for now, Darren, is probably an onside kick. If you're the Blue Dragons of Hutchinson, you got to have the good hands people up there.
You really do. We have yet to see the Panthers kick it deep, although you might have the Blue Dragons second-guessing themselves at this point. So you still have to have a couple of your deep guys back because you can't just let a ball get behind you. But, yes, your good hands people have to have even better hands. Remember, some guys have been taking their gloves off because the gloves have been really damp today.
Nifty return for the Panthers, and then plus the quarterback draw by Chambers kind of set that play up, and then of course the long pass all the way down to Greenhall, and finally they were able to get the touchdown by Roberson, taking it in for 2 yards out, makes it 18-13 Hutchinson.
Yeah, see, Whitmire is only all the way up here at the 20, electing not to go any deeper than that. And now he will back up.
Boy, mud clad lads out there. A lot of players for Blue Dragons on the front line with fresh uniforms. There's the kick is going to be taken short, however, at about the 33 by the Blue Dragon by an up back, and they're going to skate through and try to get across all the way up to about the 50-yard line, and that's where the play will be stopped. Boy, a lot of contact after the play. You talked about that earlier, and the Blue Dragons, it looked to me like it was maybe. Was it Story Jackson that carried it forward?
Jalen Irwin took that.
Yeah.
And remember, he was the one specifically who took his gloves off earlier. And to me, now that the rain has stopped, he has those gloves back on, it looks like.
All right, Blue Dragons in shape now. Ball right at the 50-yard line. Tip of the ball right on the Blue Dragons side of the 50. So 1st and 10, Hutchinson. In this third period with 12:39 to go. Hutchinson probably going to try to conserve a little time, be a little conservative with the play call. They give it off to Emmons, and he's tripped up at the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up a half a yard. BJ started to dance a little bit out there and then had his legs taken out from underneath him as he knifed forward inside of Ellsworth territory. Let's see where they officially mark it. It'll be right at the 49.5-yard line. So give him one. 2nd down and 9.
Poe goes in motion in this game so far. Where the fullback goes, the ball has gone. And Nick Ricks able just to get into the backfield kind of unscathed to make that stop.
Hutchin will set up Cam Jones at quarterback. He's down under center again. Wide out on the right side. He'll go with the tight end on the left. Back to passes Jones. We've seen a lot of passes today. As a man open but overthrows him. Cannot get it down the field on that right side. Intended receiver was down there.
Wow. That's what we've seen now by both teams, more so by Ellsworth in the first half, where you have a guy who has a couple of steps because of the slickness of the field, but just the quarterback unable to connect with Tavian Allen that time.
Yeah, Allen was wide open. A good throw would have got it to him, and it brings up a 3rd down and 9 situation now for the Blue Dragons. Just under 12 to go in this third period of play. Hutchinson needs to try to come away with something on this possession. Man in motion, goes right side to left. Back to pass. Jones again, steps up, gets it across. Catch is not there. Incomplete pass. Incomplete, trying to go to Irwin. He was down on his knees, tried to make the catch. Incomplete pass.
Well, we've seen Jones be rather low today, and that time he took a shot as he released it. Nick Ricks came through on that blitz, got free, and gave Jones a pretty good pop.
4th down punting situation for the Blue Dragons as Hutchinson will come out and get set to front the football away. With 11:49 to go in quarter number 3. So Hutchinson gets set to kick it away. Donovan Gagnon comes in. He's been a good kicker this year. Little or no win, so that's not a situation, but it's certainly concerned. And now a player personnel comes on for Ellsworth, and they get it straightened away. End-over-end kick's going to hit at the 10. Takes a Blue Dragon bounce right down inside the 10-yard line. They'll mark it there. Good job on the kick by the Blue Dragons.
It's kind of a weird sequence. The Blue Dragons, first of all, didn't have enough players out on the field, so they sent out the 11th late. And then, as you mentioned, Glenn, the Panthers realized they were missing one and sent somebody out late, too.
Yeah, Jacob Barton came out on the Panthers. He has a pretty clean uniform, so I could see it out there. And this one, where'd the punt to actually land at? Right on the 9-yard line or the 6-yard line? Okay, they're going to mark it 1st and 10 from the 6. And Panthers break their huddle, and now we get set. So 1st and 10 from the 6-yard line for the Panthers of Ellsworth. They were able to drive it down after the Blue Dragon drive stalled and was able to get it into the end zone to make it 18-13. Blue Dragon lead is cut a little bit. Panthers quarterbacks went the distance. That's Parrish Chambers. Sends a man in motion to the left side. He'll keep it to Sel. Chambers already has one long run. He stopped for little or no gain. Give him about a yard on the carry. 2nd down and 10 now from the 7.
A little bit of a cluster look on that left side for the wide receivers for the Panthers. It's going to be interesting to see how the Blue Dragons defend it, because once all those guys are over there, you kind of have to give a zone look to give yourself some separation between that cluster of 3, and then they motioned out a 4th wide receiver.
Darren Dunn's comments on the sideline brought to you by Oliver's Beef and Brew, Tycoon Kinesiology, and Jackson Mead at 13 West 6th in Hutchinson. Back to passes. Chambers has a Receiver out there and open, and the play is made, and the catch is made. Witherspoon was able to be on the coverage right away, but not after they picked up the first down. So 1st and 10, they'll move the chains, a nifty pickup of about 15 yards. 1st and 10 for the Ellsworth Panthers.
And don't kid yourself, that was a touchdown-saving tackle. If Witherspoon misses there, he's gone.
1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. 10:47, clock moving away here in the third period. Dragons lead it by 5 at 18-13. Chambers moves one running back over. He'll dance a little bit, gives it off, and slipping down and falling down will be the running back. That'll be to Kendrick Roberson, and he just can't get anything going up the middle in a muddy part of the field.
Well, and you saw right before the half, he tried to cut out of the backfield and make kind of a hop cut, as they say, but he got his heels into the ground. And remember in the pregame, coaches were telling everybody, hey, stay up on your toes because you get into your heels. That's where all the mud has been gathered, and he slipped, and he's been slipping since.
Yeah, loss on the play, 2nd down and a long 11. And again, Chambers back in the backfield in the shotgun, 10 minutes to go in this third period of play. He gets a snap, kind of an errant snap. It gathers in. Now he slips a little bit. Wants to throw the football, goes downfield, has a receiver out there. Dragons made it close to making a pick. They're going to say no. He hit the ground first. Boy, I really thought the Blue Dragons made one heck of a play right there in the person of Devon Henderson, but they say nope. It hit the field first.
And unfortunately, he may have landed on the ball as he came down because Henderson has the air knocked out of him, and he'll come to the sideline. That pass could have been thrown sooner, but good pressure by the D-line for the Dragons that time to make Chambers roll out.
I saw Story Jackson's feet come out from underneath him as well, right at the 40, so good coverage by Henderson, but you're right, he checked out. Let's see if he's going to be okay or not. Back in is Witherspoon. He and Jacobs at that free safety position and that corner position on that right side of the backfield, defensive backfield for the Blue Dragons. Here comes Chambers. Wants to throw the football. He'll throw it down. He's got a receiver out there. This time it is picked off. Coming up with the football is going to be for the Blue Dragons, number 5, Adrian Cross.
Thought they had the defender split down the field. Chambers throws it long, and Cross able to pick that off. He could have run for a while had he gotten just a little bit of a screen from his teammate, but instead he runs right back into the tackle. Great play by Adrian Cross.
AC comes up with the big one right there. Adrian Cross on the pick, and the Blue Dragons have 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line. That was a long pass by Chambers, but he threw into double coverage out there, and a nifty pick off by Adrian Cross. Yeah, Cross with his second pick, as Steve Carpenter informs me. Glad to have Steve along today as well on my left side up here in the booth. Man in motion will be for the Blue Dragons. They'll give it off. And the Blue Dragons first man through, and it's going to be right up to about the 30, maybe 31-yard line. Little or no game. I think it was Otis Williams.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to tell because even for me down here, the back of his jersey completely covered in mud. You can't make out his name. You can't make out his number.
But you make out his style of how he runs. Otis is pretty distinctive with his speed to the outside. And he, in the first half, got outside several times. Right now, we'll be facing a 2nd down and 9. So Blue Dragons break huddle. Cam Jones at the quarterback spot. They swing a wide out on the left side. That's Whitmire out on the left wing. Movement on the Ellsworth line of scrimmage was not called. To give to Williams. Will squish through. Picks up maybe 2-3 yards. And a carry forward will bring up a 3rd down and 5. Nifty running by Otis Williams.
The rain has been stopped for most of the second half, but now we get a little bit of rain coming back down again.
8:42 to go in this third period of play. Dragons precariously hanging on to a 5-point lead at 18-13. Only one other game in the conference going on right now, and that's actually is over with Iowa Western winning it over Garden City.
Sargent set a record today, 375 yards for the Reavers rushing.
Reavers looking good. Number 2 in the nation. Shovel pass for the Blue Dragons and didn't go anywhere. Matter of fact, the loss on the play of about 2 yards. They tried to shovel it forward, and Waller was able to catch the ball, but he couldn't get on tracks. Brings up 4th down punt situation for the Blue Dragons.
That was a great thought. You think you get everybody kind of looking to your outside on a pass and go back up the gut on them, but it was read out by the Panthers' Javante Arias.
So Gagnon will come in to punt the football away. 4th down and 7 now. Nose of the football on the 33. All right, he's averaging about 40.5 yards per punt on 2 kicks today. Kagan calls out the snap. Here comes the kick. End over end kick. It's going to hit at about the 35. It takes the Blue Dragon bounce and skating down to try to stay away from it was Chesterman, and they'll down it right there. They're going to mark it inside, right around the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 Ellsworth from their own 27 with 7.5 to go in this 3rd period of play. A couple scoring updates from the Big 12. TCU leading Kansas State in the 4th quarter 20-6. Oklahoma State all over Baylor. It's 35-10 in the 3rd quarter play. OU in the 3rd period leading Texas 20-10. That's being played down in Dallas on that annual affair. Iowa State all over KU. That's a final 45-0. And West Virginia winner over Texas Tech today as well, 46-35. Here it's 18-13 Blue Dragons. Ellsworth with a man in motion, the turn to give to Roberson. Roberson around the outside trying to turn the corners, knocked out of bounds, and he slides for about 4 feet over there. Little or no gain on the play. Good coverage by the Blue Dragons on that, on my near side.
Yeah, Harvey and Head able to get over there, and what a player Drew Harvey has been ever since he was named that Defensive Player of the Week. I think it was after the Resolution Prep game, and he's just been a presence at that linebacker spot ever since.
Loss of 1 on the play, so brings up a 2nd down at 11 now. Chambers back in shotgun formation. Snap count, here he gets it. Wants to throw the football, looking downfield. Now he runs to his left and he runs out of time and loses the ball. He threw it away, but I think it's too late. I think he's down and will be a loss on the play. Brings up a 3rd down and long situation for the Panthers. Again, Brown with the coverage again. His feet just came out from underneath him.
Well, we talked about how hard it is for the defensive backs to stay with the wide receivers, not knowing where they're going to go. So you see the receivers get a lot of clean releases here, but the coverage has been soft and good then downfield. You add in the fact that the defensive line is providing pressure and making Chambers roll out. He's had nowhere to go these last couple of throws.
They gave him an incomplete pass on that. They say he did get it away. So it's 3rd down and 11 now. Nose of the football on the Panther 26-yard line. Glenn Grunwald, Darren Dunn, glad to have you along this afternoon from Iowa Falls, Iowa. A rainy, rain-soaked field here, and muggy, the conditions foggy as well. Back to pass. Chambers arches it high. Has a receiver out there, but incomplete. The ball sails over the head of the intended receiver as well as the defensive back. Will bring up punt time, 4th down and 11 for the Panthers.
Well, the closeout speed by Adrian Cross is something to behold. I mean, Rooney has an opportunity to just run straight down the field, and it looks like he's going to be wide open down the field. But once that ball is thrown, Adrian Cross, even with the mud, able to close in on the wide receiver.
Yeah, good point right there. I've known Adrian from some time now for the last couple of years. Comes over once in a while and has lunch at the house. And you're right about that. He does have some good closeout speed. He's a pretty doggone good corner. Good defensive player. All right, Blue Dragons get set defensively to get the punt. Long snap count by the Panthers on special teams. They get the kick away. Here comes Waller up to make the catch. Actually, that's going to be number 3 for the Blue Dragons. That's going to be Marcus Edwards with return. Made a running return, and inside of Panther territory, they'll set the football. They'll mark it officially at the 45. So Hutchison sets up shop again inside Panthers territory. 1st and 10 with 6:35 to go in the 3rd period, leading it by 5, 18-13. Well, he took a chance there, Darren, but many times you can break one like that because the special teams lets up a little bit.
Well, especially if you get somebody in the coverage literally stuck in the mud, you just run right by them.
All right, Blue Dragons set up again. Cam Jones down in their center as an I formation set. He'll send a man sliding to his left. Gives it this time. It back in there is going to be Jackson, and he squirts forward for maybe a pickup of 1 or 2 yards. Jackson trying to get loose. 2nd down and 9, we'll call it. Well, there's just nothing available right now, smack dab up the middle. Both teams have struggled going up the middle, and Ellsworth is elected to go to the passing route most of the day. Dragons were going to the outside with Otis Williams in the first half a little bit, but have settled to go up in the middle right now. Hutchison sets up shop, 1st and 10. They'll send a man in motion. Give away on the carry, and is carrying the ball around the right side. He's going to be number 83 Moore, and gets little or no gain out of the play. He'll bring up a third down situation.
Brenner even tried to throw a hold a little bit on the outside to give Moore some room, but there was nothing there.
So 3rd down and 9 for the Blue Dragons. They're inside of Panther territory with the ball at the 44. 5:23 to go in this 3rd period of play. Dragons got first blood, led at 7-0, and one play later, 7-7 was tied. Hutchison got the safety to make it 9-7. Back to pass is Cam Jones, throws it away. He hit the ground. I don't think he intended to throw it like that, but ends up being incomplete. 4th down punting situation for Hutchinson.
Had a short receiver in Moore, had a deeper receiver in Irwin, and he kind of threw it in an island in between where nobody was.
So Hutchison in a punting situation again. Last time Gagnon got off a nice one and pinned the Panthers deep. See if he can do it again here. Don't like the fact that it's only a 5-point lead in this contest with 5:08 to go in this 3rd period of play. So special teams now might enter into this. Panthers try to get a return. Here's the punt. Gagnon gets it away. End over end kick. Again, it's going to bounce inside the 10, and Dragons get set to down. It takes a beautiful Blue Dragon bounce, and it's down at, is it going to be a touchback or right at the 1? They're going to say it's right at the 1. I thought that the Dragon player fell into the end zone, and before he touched it, and Hutchison will pin him back at the 1. Great pin right there by the Blue Dragons.
It kind of looked like if you imagine Shaquille O'Neal got his feet caught up under somebody and had to fall backwards and does the oh, and that's what happened, but he got his hands off of it before he fell into the end zone, did Story Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. He looks like he was trying to reach down for it. So 1st and 10 from their own 1-yard line for the Ellsworth Panthers. Now, Hutchison defensively now, a few new jerseys out there, but not a lot. They're mud-clad and right on the inside. Coach Rhodes talked about how this would be not much play at the line of scrimmage, that Chambers is such a quick release guy. Linebackers have been busy all day long. Now back to passes, Chambers across the middle. Picked off by the Blue Dragons, Story Jackson. Jackson around the right side trying to turn the corner. And there's a flag on the play. He'll take it down inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. Let's see what they called.
Well, it has to be an illegal block on the return because the interception was clean. In fact, the receiver went right, Chambers threw left, and the only person in the area, Story Jackson for the pick.
Jackson got the pick, took it all the way down. And the flag is laying at about the 15-yard line. Let's see what they're going to actually mark it as from the line of scrimmage or for the infraction. But nevertheless, the Dragons will have the football deep inside the Panthers' territory. And they've had a few drives stall on today. The first one, the most evident one, was the one where B.J. Emmons tried to reach over. It's going to be a block in the back. It's going to go against Hutchison. They will mark the football at about the 26-yard line. So 1st and 10 for the Blue Dragons from the Panther 26.
Jack Bastable, the wide receiver, was running a flag route, and Paris Chambers threw the post route, and that's why it was nowhere near any one of his wide receivers.
Story Jackson is not going to find any more open. That's his first pick on the year. He was so wide open on that. I think he was a little bit surprised. All right, Cam Jones gives it away to Emmons. BJ back in there battling his way forward, picks up about 4 to 5 yards on that first carry. 2nd down and 4 or 5. You're going to say, let's give him 4 on the carry. 2nd down and 6.
And you've heard that theme, keep pounding, and that's what we're seeing from the Blue Dragons. So don't be surprised if some of these runs for no gain and 2 yards throughout the game turns out to be a big run here late in the second half.
Cadet Field's been having trouble with the play clock all game long. It flashes on and flashes off to give up the middle, and Blue Dragons give it to Poe. I think he carries forward for a couple yards.
Yeah, apparently they've had trouble with a lightning strike, so one of the play clocks was working, the other one was not. So if you're the signal caller for your offense, the quarterback, or if you're one of the special teams guys in charge of that, you have to watch the back judge pretty intently if you're running out of time. When his hand goes straight up in the air, you have 10 seconds left. When it comes out to his side, you have 5 seconds to get the snap off.
3rd down and 5 from the 21-yard line. We'll say it's a short 5. Again, the Blue Dragons out of the shotgun. They'll send a man in motion. Cam Jones, the turn. They give quickly up to Emmons. He stutter steps just a little bit. Maybe picked up only 1 or 2 yards. It's going to bring up a 4th down and short situation facing the Dragons with 3:26 to go in this third period of play.
That mud really takes a little bit of the power out of the game, doesn't it? Because you see these guys trying to find their footing. So normally in situations where you have a guy laying a hit and wrapping up, he can't wrap up because his hands are down on the ground, and he just becomes kind of the stumbling block for the running back to try and run through.
All right, the Dragons are going to go for it here on 4th down and 3. Ball's at the 18. They sent a man in motion. They want to throw it. Cam Jones lost it to the corner. He has a man out there. Incomplete pass. And taking over on downs will be the Panthers of Ellsworth. With 2:52 to go in the third period, 18-13. Dragon lead is 5, and the Panthers will take over on downs.
Cam Jones took another shot. I really don't like the fact that Keontae Shad was able to take a step after the throw, wrap up, and then drive Jones to the ground. But the White Hats saw no problem with that.
Well, the Blue Dragons normally would run the football, but I do think the fact of the game, the field conditions, and you could really tell it from up here, it's really getting chopped up and tore up, is really making them have to go to the airway. All right, here's Chambers for the Panthers, 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. Get to the first man through, nothing there. Maybe a pickup of a couple on the carry. I shouldn't be as premature on the call right there. Trying to carry it forward was number 21 out there for the Panthers, Barnett. 2nd and 6 at the 23 now. Blue Dragons defensively get set up out there. Panthers again with Roberson, the main running back. Chambers has done a lot of running. There's a bad snap to get it away. Quick opener up the middle. Roberson finally carrying it forward up to about the 30-yard line. Barnett, that is. Barnett on the run. So they switched it up a little bit and going with Barnett here in this third period. Good enough for the first down. So 1st and 10, they'll move the chains.
Barnett, a shorter back at 5'10", but a heavier back at 195. Roberson 6', 180, so kind of a between the tackles kind of guy.
Barnett, a sophomore. Donaldson, Iowa is his hometown. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Ball at the 30-yard line, their own 30. Again, a quick opener up the middle. I know they're going to keep it. That's going to be Chambers. He jukes one player. Head missed on him. Long pass, and he just flat throws it away. Incomplete pass brings up a 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line. I thought he gave it away up the middle of the Barnett again, but they elected to keep it, and Chambers threw that one away. Head whipped a little bit on a sure sack in the backfield.
Well, he was a little indecisive on that one. He knew he had nobody, and he wanted to get to the outside, but Contain was held on the edge by the Blue Dragon defensive end, and so he just kind of threw that one to the ticket holder on the very front row of Dale Howard Stadium.
You're lucky you're down there, Darren. We're being attacked by box elder bugs right now up in the press box. Here's the snap. Back is Chambers. He'll go on the left side, trying to run that bubble screen, and it's good for a pickup of 3 or 4 yards. It'll bring up a 3rd down and a short situation. Blue Dragons have a hurt player on the field. Injury on the field for the Blue Dragons after the hit was made. 3rd down and 5 now facing the Panthers, and Darren, I don't have a good look at who that is.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you too, but he's covered up, waiting for him to kind of roll over. It's one of the linemen. And what happened was you had the receiver coming off of the bubble screen, covered up, kind of swarmed in by 4 Blue Dragon players. A couple were going high and a couple were going low. And this particular Blue Dragon just kind of got caught on the low end side of that.
They're going to come out and attend to the Blue Dragon. Let's take a quick half-minute break. Again, with 1:32 to go in the third period of play, it's the Dragons 18, the Panthers 13. Panthers football when we return right after this 30-second timeout. Well, after the injury timeout, Blue Dragons get the injured player off the field. Darren, do you have an opportunity?
Yeah, I wanted to tell you who it was before, but I didn't want to speculate without fully knowing, and it was Devontae Wyatt coming off limping that time, and actually maybe holding on to his forearm area now at this point is what the trainer's looking at.
All right, 3rd down and 5 now, facing the Panthers. 1:26 to go in the 3rd period of play. Panthers with the ball at their own 35. Scramble to the right side. Jackson trying to buy some more time. Throws it down the field, or Campbell, I meant, and an incomplete pass out of bounds.
Passing complete.
And flag on the play, however. Let's see what this one's going to be about. It's going to be a hold against the Panthers with 1:14 to go. You're going to decline this one and let them punt away. So 1:14 to go in the 3rd period of play. Hutchinson leading 18-13. They do decline the penalty, they being the Blue Dragons, and Hutchinson will have an opportunity now for a return off of punt time for the Panthers.
The rain earlier in the game kind of coming down at an angle with some of that wind we had, and now with this rain falling in the 3rd quarter, kind of coming straight down to the grass.
All right, back deep to return for the Blue Dragons. Looks to be, is it Waller back there? I believe it is. Nope.
You got Edwards.
Edwards back deep. So number 3, Edwards. Again, I'm having a little trouble with the numbers after all the mud. Bad snap is going to be missed by the punter. He's going to try to come up with it. Dragons are going to try to pin him. Still loose football, but they're going to down him right there. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Blue Dragons right around the 14-yard line.
Oh, the Blue Dragons are not going to like that one. Neeland, of course, had his knees on the ground as he grabbed for the ball. I don't know he fully possessed it. The officials said he did, and that's why they called it dead, but it scored it free a couple of yards behind him. The Blue Dragons could have scored had Neeland not been called down.
Well, he was called down right there. They're going to mark it at the 13 officially, so 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. The Panther 13, Blue Dragons break, huddle on the sidelines, and they'll come up, see if they go with a quick snap right here. They have kind of went away from that plan today that they normally do and went with more conventional football. They have a lone setback in the backfield. Goes with the split on the right side. It's going to be Jackson carrying it, trying to knife it around on the right side. Has his legs taken out from underneath him, but not before he picked up about 7 yards. There's a flag comes in late.
Oh, you betcha. Beeman, after the play, threw Basler to the ground, and Basler's halfway in the end zone. Because this is well after the whistle, like, where's the flag? And the back judge agreed and threw it down immediately.
All right, let's see what the call's going to be. Inside of a minute now in the 3rd period, 56 ticks left on the clock in this 3rd. Blue Dragons will have it deep inside, and it will work. Is it a face mask call? I think
no,
it was.
It was a late unsportsmanlike.
Okay,
he threw Beeman threw Basler to the ground a couple of seconds after the whistle.
All right, 1st and goal.
Think about that. I mean, you had an offensive lineman blocking a defensive lineman all the way into the end zone, and Beeman didn't like it, so he threw him down late.
Ball's going to be on the 2-yard line. 1st and goal from the 2 for the Blue Dragons. The keeper by Jones, knifing in, trying to get in. No signal as of yet. Still no signal. And they're trying to get the ball loose. Still no signal. It was going to be
the one at the half.
One, yeah.
He's at the half. And Jalen Irwin came around on this right side. Unfortunately, he got in front of the head linesman and was trying to say, hey, we got a touchdown. So the linesman had to kind of circle around him to go see, and it was obvious that Jones was short the whole time.
2nd down and 1, from 2nd and goal from the 1. Blue Dragons break the huddle quickly. Here's another quarterback keeper by Jones. Is still no signal as of yet. And they say he's going to be short by a half a yard this time.
That's interesting. We may talk about this. Linesmen getting together. There really wasn't a clear view. I have the same view as these guys. Now they say 3rd down, and really not that far to go, maybe 4 or 5 inches away from a touchdown.
And timeout's going to be taken by the Blue Dragons.
End of the 3rd.
Oh, that's the end of the 3rd. So we will take a quick 30-second timeout. We'll go down to the other end of the field and get set for football action in the 4th quarter. We'll be back in a half minute. Well, the Chiefs with football action coming up at about 3:15 tomorrow. You can catch all that action on KWBW 1450 AM and 98.5 FM in Hutchinson. Right here, it is fourth quarter, about to get underway in a third down and about a half a foot for the Blue Dragons, deep inside of Panther territory, inside the 1 foot line. Hutchinson leading at 18-13.
There's no doubt in my mind, Glenn, that this is 2 down territory. If you don't score on third, you want to go for it on fourth, because even if you're stopped on fourth, as slippery as it is, you have a chance to come away with a safety.
Exactly. Of course, this game pushed from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We had a lot of rain here in the Iowa Falls area. Still was raining at game time. It's kind of moved out of the area, but it's very sloppy and wet and foggy even. Blue Dragons break huddle. He'll turn and give it right up the middle. B.J. Emmons take the directly, and a touchdown from the side judge calls it. Hutchinson on the board, makes it 24-13. Touchdown, B.J. Emmons from 1 yard out. Was it Cam? Cam Jones.
Cam Jones just took it from center and jumped over.
I apologize. Cam Jones with the touchdown. So 24-13, Cam Jones with his second touchdown of the afternoon. So now the point after, Niemeyer will come in, who, by the way, is the all-time leading field goal kicker for the Blue Dragons, now with that field goal he had in the first half of play, that 22-yarder. Chris James, the holder. Here comes the kick. It's up and on its way, and it is good. So your score with 14:57 to go in this fourth and final period, Hutchinson 25, the Panthers 13. We'll take a half-minute break. We'll be back for the Hutchinson kickoff in 30 seconds. Well, the Hutchinson kickoff now after a nifty short field set things up for the Blue Dragons after a beautiful punt that was, well, the actual punt was muffed by the Panthers, and the Blue Dragons took over deep inside of Panther territory and took advantage of it, Darren. That's important, to take advantage of those mistakes.
Well, and that was the thing you pointed out a little bit earlier, the fact that it could come down to a special teams play. Now, they didn't score on that special teams mishap, but because of it, it led to a direct score.
All right, here comes the Blue Dragon kickoff. Niemeyer kicks it away. It's going to spin and be taken at about the 10-yard line by the Panthers. Nowhere to go. Nice defensive effort by the Blue Dragons. Special teams playing well today. Maybe got out to the 15-yard line. Panthers will have the football.
Fize just nowhere to go, and here's the problem when he lets the ball bounce like that. Okay, we talked about the conditions of the ground, how wet it is, how muddy it is. Typically a ball is going to bounce a lot harder off of a good ground, a good piece of grass. Here, not only is it bouncing soft, it's slipping on that grass. So once it makes that bounce and it's coming up low, it's kind of sidewinding, and you don't know which way it's going to sidewind, away from you, or to the other side.
All right, the Panthers will have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line. They trail it by 12 at 25-13 with just a few seconds gone in this fourth period, 14:52 to be exact. Blue Dragons have 245 yards on their third quarter stats with 59 carries. So a healthy day for the Blue Dragon offense. There's a jump inside by Chambers trying to get it loose, and he will end up being dumped for only about a 1 or 1.5 yard gain on the play.
Well, it's going to come back. Logan McDonald held on that left side. Blue Dragons penetrating nicely, and all he could do was hold to let his quarterback get by.
More football tonight in the Kansas Jayhawk Conference. Butler entertaining Air Force Academy this evening. If you haven't heard, that Indy Highland game, which was being played up at Highland, will be moved to tomorrow. So they'll be kicking off at 1 o'clock. We have a flag on that last play.
Yeah, that's that hold by McDonald.
Blue Dragons will be home against the Grizzlies of Butler next week. Should be a good one. You need a big crowd to show up at Gowans. By the way, also there will be a road game the night before with Hutch High traveling over to Mays. Tough loss by the Salt Hawks last night, 35-7 at the hands of the Campus Colts. 25-13 here. Blue Dragons on top. We're in the fourth period of play. First down and 20 now facing the Panthers. Turn to give up the middle. That's going to be Roberson. He's got some room to run. He slips, though, short of the first down, but he got a lot of that penalty plus some more back. Roberson's legs come out from underneath him right after he got past the 25-yard line. Let's see what they officially mark it. It's going to be 2nd down and 3. Pretty nifty run, kind of a delayed draw. 14-11 to go in this 4th period of play. Chambers gives it off to Roberson again. No, Chambers keeps it around the right side. He's got some wide open room to run, and he has the first down. He'll pick up the first down and moves the chains. Stops the clock with 14 minutes to go as he runs out of bounds on the far side.
Picks up an Ellsworth first down with the short run.
Talked about players ditching their gloves. Roberson just threw his to the sideline.
A couple of years ago, we were up here, Darren, and it was really cold conditions, if you remember. You were on the sidelines for that game. This one a little bit different, but it's kind of that wet cold because of the rain. But
I remember it specifically being cold in that press box with the concrete.
It was at least 39, maybe to 40 degrees. Right now, 60 degrees at game time for today's game. Warmed up a little bit to 63. Fog's starting to move out of the area a little bit. Back to pass as Chambers sets up across the middle, catch made over on the far side. He'll keep the ball, the time of the clock going, as they say. He did not get out of bounds with a pickup of about 5.
Rooney out there, one of his favorite receivers. He leads this team in receptions. Has just had kind of a tough time getting going today.
2nd down and 4, we'll call it officially, for the Panthers. Ball at the 37, the Panthers own 37. They trail it by 12. Turn to give up the middle, right side spun around, not there for the first down, about a yard short. Pick up a 3, however. It's going to bring up a 4th down situation, 4th and short, big time short. 3rd and short, excuse me, 3rd down and short. So maybe 4 down situation here, Darren, as they trail about 12 with 13:03 to go.
Yeah, you would think so. Harvey lucky to probably hold on that time. He had Roberson high. And just able to have enough strength to pull him down to the ground. He's kind of along for the ride there for a few steps.
All right, let's see what the call is going to be here.
They're short, it'll be 3rd down.
3rd down and about 1, it looks like. Well, the down marker right on top of the chain over there.
Yeah, they momentarily stopped things to bring the ball over and look at it and said, yeah, it was a little bit shy of the first.
Paris Chambers back in the gun again, back in the shotgun. Picks up his left foot, moves the man in motion. How to give up to Barnett. He has the first down and more. Finally tackled by Jerry Jacobs after he gets into Dragon territory all the way down to the 41. Quick opener on the right side, and Barnett getting it done right there. Takes it all the way down to the 40 to the 41-yard line, and again, a nice nifty 18-yard pickup by Barnett. He's kind of been the go-to in the second half of play, at least. Clock moving with 12:31 to go in the 4th period of play. Hutchinson with a 12-point lead at 25-13. Shotgun again. Give again to Barnett. He busts forward, picks up maybe 2 to 3 yards on the carry. 2nd down and 7. This time still inside of Blue Dragon territory, out down to about the 37-yard line. Barnett out of Donaldson, Iowa. He stands 5'10", 195-pound sophomore. Panthers 3-3 coming into this contest. The 3 losses very misleading. Triple overtime against the Independence Pirates last week after trailing pretty big time in that second half of play. Carry around on the outside as Chambers does not have the first down, short of it by about a yard. Will bring up a 3rd down and short.
Good job by Jerry Jacobs making the play, but now he's flat on his back, hurting.
Jacobs shaken up a little bit. Training staff out on him right away. Is it Witherspoon or Jacobs?
I believe it's Jerry Jacobs.
No, Jacobs on this
he's
side.
Over here. You're right. It's Witherspoon.
It's Witherspoon. So Witherspoon, number 8, down on his backside. Training staff attending to him. 3rd down and a yard and a half to go. Just as I said, the fog was clearing out. Here it comes back in again. A lot of humidity in the air with the rain that happened earlier in the area. Most of that's clearing out now, Darren, as the weather map I'm looking at looks like we're going to go through a little precipitation going home, but we should have a clear shot.
Yeah, we got some coming down right now.
So Well, good. Soccer with a big win over Garden City, 14-0 today. After losing to Northwest Tech the other day, they lit it up against the Brockbusters out in Garden City today. Third down in the yard and a half, facing the Panthers here with 11:21 to go in this fourth period of play. Panthers really need to keep this drive going. Dragons need to make it a fourth down situation. The turn to give right up the middle. Boy, deep penetration by the Blue Dragons in that Panther backfield, and they're short of the stop.
No gain on the play.
No gain on the play. Fourth down. Matter of fact, I think they lost about a half a yard. 4th and 2 now, Darren, facing the Panthers of Ellsworth.
Yeah, if you imagine a submarine type of play when the defender comes underneath the block and is able to trip up the back by his feet. That's what Caleb Bryce did on that play, and he's pumped.
Caleb Bryce playing well. Came up with a big stop, just stopped him in his tracks. Like I said, lost about a half a yard. Fourth down here. Blue Dragons have a great opportunity to stop this drive at 4th down and 2. They'll come up in the box, throwing a little bit of blitz. Slow snap. Chambers feet slip. Lets it go. Catch is made. What a catch on his backside at the 10. The ball popped away from the receiver, which was Isaiah Thomas. Jumped up in the air, and he came down right in his hands.
Well, you're right on. Chambers slips when he gets ready to throw, and then the receiver slips, Thomas, on the way back, and then he bobbled it on his side. He's laying there on his oblique, and instead of the ball going straight to the ground, pops right up just a few inches out of his hands, and he's able to maintain possession and bring it in.
If anything, the Blue Dragons overplayed a little bit, and Jerry Jacobs out there, and the ball popped straight up, and Thomas was right there to bring it down. So 1st and goal from the 10 now. They'll mark it officially at the 9. The turn up the middle, stop made in the backfield. Nice stop by the Blue Dragons. And we have a player injured on the field for the Panthers.
Caleb Bryce again making a big play for the Blue Dragons. He's kind of building that momentum off of these big stops and these tackles for loss.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick timeout due to the fact that they're going to come out and attend to the injured player. 10-10 to go in the ball game. Panthers still on the drive. They have it now at their own 11, and it will be 2nd down and a goal to go from the 11-yard line. We'll take a quick 30-second timeout.
Bradley Sandiford, the injured Panther. The 2nd and 11 coming up.
To the call. Tell them, remind those tackles to slant to the call. Tell both tackles to slant to the call.
Well, the Blue Dragons defensively trying to get the stop done. The injured player was an offensive lineman. He checks out of the contest. 25-13, Dragons lead it by 12. Panthers knocking on the door, though, was 2nd down and goal from the 11. Chambers, Paris Chambers throws it right left corner of the end zone. Is it a pick? Jerry Jacobs going over there. They have not indicated as of, yes, they do. The pick in the end zone by the Blue Dragons. It'll come out to the 20. And Thomas was the intended receiver. Was that Jerry or was that Witherspoon? No, check that, number 9. Was it Jerry? Yes, it was. Jacobs with a big pick.
Well, and if anything, if that ball drops to the ground, you were going to get offensive pass interference by Thomas. So give credit to the defensive back of fighting through the OPI and coming down with a big interception.
That'll mark it at the 20-yard line. Blue Dragons will have the football with 9:52 to go here in this 4th period of play, leading it 25-13. Nice coverage in the corner. Chambers threw a nice ball, but Jacobs went up at the same time, was able to come down with it for the pick. All right. Cam Jones still at quarterback. He's down under center to turn to give to the running back. Trying to change the direction against slipping and sliding a little bit. Nothing there. And Dragons are thrown for a loss.
Well, that's Lee, and he's kind of in that same spot of the field we saw in the first half. Roberson try to cut after coming to a stop on his heels. Lee does the same thing, and the minute that first heel goes down, he starts into a slide.
You can't cut, Darren. As soon as they start to cut, you can see them just look like they're on an ice skating rink out there on that mud.
Well, they have to heed some of that advice the coaches were giving them in the pregame of trying to stay up on your toes. So, yeah, make those short, choppy steps and cut back there a little bit, but you have to do it on the front of your cleats on the toes instead of trying on the heels.
This north part of the field of the Cadet field here, at Iowa Falls is really in bad shape. All right, they'll slide a man over to turn, to give. Again, the running back is going to be B.J. Emmons. Nothing there. He loses a yard on the play. 2nd down, 11. This is a good defensive brand football for the Ellsworth Panthers. They're a good defensive team. It's 3rd down and a long 13 facing the Blue Dragons. They have the ball at the 17. Their own 17 with 8:41 to go. Now is not the time to get too conservative, but more likely a passing situation for Hutchinson. Blue Dragons return home next Saturday, noon game time, kickoff at noon against the Butler Grizzlies. We need a big crowd there at Gowan Stadium. They'll send a man in motion, Blue Dragons right to left. The turn to give to the running back, that's Otis Williams, trying to get outside, finds some room, has some open field, gets across, has the 1st down, across all the way up to the 34-yard line on the run.
Tackled by Robert O'Neill.
Nifty run by Otis.
I think this thing you see from Williams, he kind of makes it look like it's a cut when he gains some extra yards at the end, but really he did it all with his upper body. So instead of trying to make a cut and slip with his feet, he made it look like he was going to make a cut and juked the top half of his body and got a few more out of the play.
Juice Williams with the run right there. He picks up 17. Otis with a good run. 1st and 10 Dragons. Nose of the football on their own 34-yard line. Clock clicking away now, 7:52 to go. Blue Dragons with a 12-point lead, trying to get out of here with a W. The turn to give again. This Otis Williams, he has some room. He's across the 40, to the 45, to the 50, and tripped up right at the last second. Falls, and now they're going to say a block in the back. They're going to say a block in the back, so they might wave out a lot of that big run by Otis Williams. They mark him down officially inside of Panther territory at the 45, but let's see if it comes back or not. Coaching staff reacted that way up above us.
Well, the staff reacted that way down here on the sidelines too. The white hat had to tell them, hey, get back to your sideline.
They're going to mark it off from the 49, so let's see where they place it. That was a 2nd down run, 2nd down and 10. See where they go with it. Otis he's the only back out there right now for the Blue Dragons that has been running well in this mud conditions. Did a nice job of turning the corner on the right side and finding his way through traffic. There's the hold. It's going to go against the Blue Dragons. And let's see how deep they mark it off. They'll move it back and mark it right around the right around the 37-yard line.
And one of the goals of this possession doesn't necessarily have to be to get into the end zone, but it would be to get this clock down around the time frame that the Panthers might only have one solid possession left. So even if the Blue Dragons have to punt it away at the end of this possession, if they can get this clock down under 3 minutes, somewhere in that range, they'd be doing well.
They've not changed the down marker as of yet, but it's 1st and 6. Okay, 1st and 6 from the 36. They'll slide over, give to the running back right side. Otis, same results, and here's another flag out of bounds at the 50, but another flag comes flying way back from the back judge, and let's see what that one's going to be. More than likely from the same area, and let's see what they're going to call. Otis didn't quite get as far downfield, but just about. Otis Williams running well for the Blue Dragons of Hutch.
Holding Hutchinson.
The hold by the Hutch Blue Dragons. And see exactly where they're going to mark this football. 2 big plays coming back, Darren.
Yeah, those are the type of mistakes you want to keep away from. But a lot of times here with this mud, you can't help but think, oh, no, I'm beat. I need to hold. But the way the defender is going to slip and slide, sometimes you're better off just letting it go and seeing if your running back can slip through.
They'll mark it at the 35. So 1st and basically 10. 1st and 10 for their own 35 for the Blue Dragons. Cam Jones, the quarterback. Knoxville, Tennessee is his hometown. The give to Otis Williams, finds some room again. He's across the 50 to the 45. Stumbles a little bit, down to the 30, 20, 15. There's another flag, knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line, but I think it's coming back. What a run by the Blue Dragons, Otis Williams. And we'll sort things out and see where the flags are all over the field. But Williams with an electrifying run.
Tavian Allen in the area of that flag. He may have gotten somebody there late, but how about Williams keeping his feet? It looked like he was going to go down, as you mentioned, when he stumbled, or at least be caught, somehow able to stay up on his feet and get near the goal line.
He stumbled right around the 30-yard line, but regained his poise. The hole's going to take place, or was it a block in the back? Doesn't matter. It's coming back. They're going to mark it right at the 30. So that's where they'll mark it. 1st and 10 from the Panther 30 for the Blue Dragons of Hutchinson. Wow, what a play. Otis took it all the way down inside the 2, but it'd be a 35-yard run is what it ends up to be. That young man's over 100 yards already for the day. Been the most prolific running back today in this mud-soaked field.
9 for 119.
Yeah, 9 carries for 119 now, Darren. That's pretty good payday, don't you think?
And that's officially, I mean, think what it would be without those penalties.
Exactly. Cam Jones, that's a man of motion. That's Watson. Jones, bad snap. Jones picks it up and just stumbled back to him. It barely got there, and he still picked up a couple yards. It looked like a Tiddlywinks play. Cam Jones did a good job just to get down and bend down and pick up that football. See if he picked up about a yard. I'll call it 2nd down and 10. They're wiping the football clean right at the 30-yard line.
Some of these Blue Dragon offensive linemen, the officials probably thankful they have white helmets so they can differentiate between the two teams, because the jerseys are just so muddy. Sometimes when you're looking down at pants and at white numbers, they're so dark with the mud you can't tell who's who.
Yeah, when you talk with Coach Rhodes, you're going to have to maybe say who's going to have to clean these things. So that's the equipment managers do a heck of a job. All right, to turn Cam Jones up to Otis Williams. This time not as much, but he still stretches it across the 30 down to about the 25-yard line. They'll move the chains to pick up about 4. 3rd down and 6 now for the Blue Dragons. Nice job by Otis Williams. He's came to play today.
And now's the time to take up every second of this play clock before you snap it, because we just now got under 5 minutes.
Remind everybody, stay tuned to postgame as Darren will be talking with Coach Rhodes from down on the field, brought to you by Cooper Tire, the post-game show. We'll just do a quick wrap-up, and then as soon as they break, and then we'll have the Medicine Shop post-game after that. So stay tuned. 3rd and 5 now, facing Hutchinson from the 26 of the Panthers. Turn to give to Otis Williams. He's stopped in his tracks. Big time play made back there by the Panthers. Solomon Pierce coming in. Or let's check that. Isaiah Childs, big number 94 with the stop. And Ellsworth just took a timeout with 4:24 to go in the contest. Brings up a 4th down and 10 situation from the Blue Dragon 30-yard line, excuse me. We're going to take a quick half-minute break. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls right after this. Blue Dragons with the football, 4th down and 10 with 4:24 to go. As Steve Carpenter says, right in the puddle at the 30-yard line. And it really is. Sitting right smack dab in the puddle. We're at Iowa Falls, Iowa, the Cadet Field located in the north part of Iowa Falls. Cam Jones under center, gives it off. Otis Williams trying to turn the corner, nothing there, and it'll go over on downs to the Panthers. So Ellsworth will have the football with 4:18 to go, down by 12. They'll need some quick scores if they're going to keep this being a ball game.
Well, and you may be wondering, the Blue Dragons had 4th and 10 on the Panther 30. Why not just punt that away? I think it's the right decision to go for it. You punt it, and if it rolls into the end zone, it's coming back out to the 20.
It's coming
so
back
effectively,
in.
It's a 10-yard punt. So you might as well go for it, try to take off some more time. And they ran to that right side where Williams had those huge gains earlier on that drive, just nothing going that particular run.
Wasn't to be, exactly. Again, Rusty will be back with us next week as Butler comes to town at high noon on Saturday. We need a big crowd out at Gowan Stadium. Should be a heck of a matchup. They play tonight against Air Force Prep in El Dorado. Back to passes, Chambers out of the shotgun, throws it to the right side, catches made. Stepping out of bounds will be Thomas on the far side. Stops the clock with 4:13 to go. Picks up about 5 yards. 2nd down and 5 now.
2nd down for the Panthers.
See where officially where they mark the football. Be right at the 34-yard line, 33-yard line, right around there. So 2nd down and 5 from their own 33. Paris Chambers, the quarterback, steps back, looks to his right, rolls right, throws it on its way and throws it away. Stops the clock again with 3:56 to go. Blue Dragons trying to go to 6-1 on the year. They would make themselves bowl eligible with the win here. Panthers, if the score remains the same, will fall to 3-4. It's a good Panther team, though. They have a football game coming up against Fort Scott at Fort Scott on Saturday. Then they host Butler as they come up here on the 28th of October. Ball comes back on the bounce to Chambers, throws it away again. This time on the right side will bring up a 4th down situation. So good defensive effort by the Blue Dragons. Now, my understanding, there's not even locker rooms here at this field. They have to go to the college, which is some distance away. Yeah. Steve just indicated, you don't even think about this, Darren, but all the seats in the buses and everything, and the seats are covered because of this mud-clad team that you'll have out there crawling on these buses. Kind of have to make arrangements for the bands and everything to be able to transport these teams over to the school where their dressing rooms are.
Chambers has some confusion and only a few seconds now to snap it.
Doesn't have too much time. 3:52, there's the flag. So that'll be a delay of game. That'll back it up more. So it was at the 33. There might have even been movement. Let's see what they call.
Yeah, that was the movement. And now they're trying to decide who moved first.
Eastern Kansas kind of catching some rain now around Eureka and in that area. Here, it just stayed to the south of us. Wasn't as bad as they had anticipated. I think they thought it was really going to be storms in the morning and then moved back. Offside, this time it's going to be against the Blue Dragons. Ends up, it'll be a 1st down, 1st and 10 for the Panthers, so it keeps this drive alive. With 3:52 remaining to go in this 4th and final period. Hutchinson with a 12-point lead at 25-13. Glenn Grunwald and Darren Dunn, glad to have you along today. Rusty will be back with us on next Saturday. Darren's been doing sideline reports brought to you by Jackson Meat, Oliver's Beef and Brew at 30th Street, as well as Ty Cahoon Kinesiology. Appreciate his work on the sidelines today. Back to passes, Chambers rolls to his right, throws it away. Ends up bringing down a 2nd out of 10 that stops the clock with 3:45 to go.
2nd and 10 Panthers at the 38.
If it wasn't bad enough for Chambers to have to prepare for this Blue Dragon defense, he's been battling the elements out here today. He's usually very sure-handed, and he has his feet going. He's the leading rusher on this team coming into this game, and he's really struggled in this mud and this damp rain.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10 situation from the 38-yard line for the Ellsworth Panthers. Again, Ellsworth actually a few miles from here. This is Iowa Falls. There's the throw picked up by Thomas. He slips. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Quinn Head back on top of him. Quinn is muddy from his feet all the way to his waist, but pretty clean upstairs. Those D linemen, I can hardly see numbers now. Timeout's going to be taken by as well on the field with 3:30 to go in this 4th and final period. That'll give us an opportunity to hear from our sponsors. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls. The Blue Dragons lead at 25-13. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Now, welcome back. Welcome back to Iowa Falls. 3:35 remaining to go in this fourth and final period. See where the TCU K-State game has been delayed again, probably by lightning. TCU leading 20-6. Not sure what quarter. I think the fourth quarter is where they are with that one. Panthers get set, 3rd down and 10 from the 38 here with 3:35 to go. They'll send a man in motion. Chambers back to pass, steps up, has a quick feed. Now he rolls to the right side, trying to get away from a defender. Jukes one Dragon, still on his feet. Balfani brought down, the runner brought down inside the Dragon territory all the way to the 34. Coaches wanted a hold, didn't get the call. 1st and 10 for the Panthers from the Dragon 35-yard line.
Glenn, you've seen Risky Business, Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Caleb Bryce did that where he slides in on his socks he had a chance to make the tackle, but he slid right through the mud like Tom Cruise in Risky Business, and he was nowhere close to Chambers after that.
1st and 10 from the 35, and that would be the Dragon 35 with 3:24 to go. Ellsworth still in business, although they're running out of time. 3:21 remaining to go in this contest as the clock moves away. Dragons show blitz, but back out of it a little bit. Chambers with the quick feet today. Long snap count out of the shotgun. Dragons showing blitz. Loose ball on the field, and the Dragons do not get to it, but had a great opportunity.
Loose ball on the field.
And it ends up being Panther football. Loss on the play, though, of a yard.
Panthers, short loss on
Just a little upset with himself that he couldn't quite get to the ball, and luckily Chambers for the Panthers able to crawl back to it. But this is the point of the game where you're really running out of time.
Yeah,
you have to start thinking about those shots down the field, and that's kind of what they've been setting up with these short outs. Look for an out and up.
2:32 to go in the contest. 2nd down and 11 for the Panthers. They trail by 12. They need 2 scores. Loose football again. This time it's close to Dragons. I think they have the football. They'll uncork the pile here, and
they do.
It will be Quinn Head coming up with the loose football.
the ground.
Good job by the Blue Dragons defense. They bent a little bit right there with the big run by Chambers, but ball slipped away, and that's been a little precarious with this mud conditions. Quinn Head with the pickup of the fumble. Dragons take over.
I like how he just casually strolls off the field, tosses the ball to the official. He's like, yeah, just another day at the office, picking up fumbles out of the mud here.
All right, Dragons will have the football with 2:24 remaining. They'll have it on their own 40-yard line. They're going to be really conservative here. You got to watch the snaps, make sure they're clean. I'd say that this is a Tide and Comet commercial just about. This Comet's not used for clothes, is it? It's more like a Tide commercial. They'll slide on the outside and give it away to the running back. First man through, pick up maybe a yard on the carry. Looks to be like Jackson or Otis. Is it Jackson or Otis on the carry?
Yeah, it's Jackson in the
Jackson
game now.
comes up with the carry, picks up a yard. He's been solid for the Blue Dragons. That would be Desmond Jackson.
Ball on the 42.
Ball's at the 42-yard line. 2 minutes remaining to go in the contest. Blue Dragons with a 12-point lead. Hutchison taking their time, breaking the huddle. Cam Jones has went the distance at quarterback. He's back in the gun right now. Slides one man over, has a back behind him. The turn, the give. Right up the middle, Jackson with a carry, picks up another 3 yards. So 3rd down and about 3, and that's probably going to be another timeout taken by Ellsworth. So that'll be their final timeout with 1:24 to go in this 4th period of play. Let's keep it here right now and talk about that big matchup against Butler. Darren, it's always a big game when you play the Grizzlies, but probably none bigger this year because the Blue Dragons still need to keep heading toward trying to get a Jayhawk Conference championship. They'll come out of this game at 6-1, and Butler taking on Air Force Prep at home tonight. That'll be always a big contest.
Yeah, Butler, another good season going here. They are 4-2 going into that game against Air Force Prep. Their only losses to Coffeyville and Garden City, and those were some games on the road. And don't forget, they recently beat Highland. That was last week in a 6-2 contest.
Well, one of the last standings I saw was Butler was 3-2 going into this weekend. They have a non-conference game, so they'll stay at 3-2 overall. So it makes it quite interesting. Again, Independence tied with the Hutch Blue Dragons at 3-0 in the top of the conference as well. So that's where they are. Butler at 3-2. Garden City now is at 3-2. Overall, they are 4-3. Then Fort Scott 1-2. Highland at 1-3. So very important game. The turn and the give now. The Blue Dragons take over and trying to get the first down. They surge it forward. Still on his feet for the Blue Dragons is B.J. Emmons. They stop it short of the first down. It brings up at 4th down and 1. B.J. trying to get it going. Might have got a finger in the eye as he kind of whistles or gives indication that he needs to be substituted for, and this will be a 4th down situation now for the Blue Dragons. They're going to punt it away. Inside of a minute, 57 seconds left to go. Blue Dragons are going to come out of here at 6-1 on the season, and they'll avenge a tough loss last year to this Ellsworth squad. Yeah, 2 years in a row, actually. They'll even up the count over the last three to 2-2. So Hutch had lost 2 straight years to this Ellsworth squad. I forgot about that ball that hit the uprights. They're going to take a delay of game penalty or a timeout. It's going to be a timeout, I believe. It's timeout Hutchison. We'll get a break in. 35 seconds remaining. Dragons lead it by 12, 25-13. We'll be back right after this half-minute timeout. Well, special thanks to Larry Stoneside for doing all the chief engineer work back at the BW studios. We had to get a hold of him regarding bumping it to a 2-hour later start time at 3 o'clock. A lot of things have to be done. Special thanks to Mark Atkins on the BW side for changing all the times that need to be done, as well as Randy McKay. But Larry doing a great job with the board work. We appreciate making all that happen. Blue Dragons will punt the football away now, leading it by 12 with 35 seconds left to go in this on the time on the clock, and Gagnon back to kick again. 4th down and 1. Here comes the kick. He got a good one away, end over end spin. Fair catch call for right at the 21 yard line. So there will be where again now the Panthers set up shop. This Panther team, their losses when you add them all together, including this 12-point loss, they're a good football team. They're gonna be able to be at Fort Scott next week. Then they return home against Butler. Then they take on Iowa Western on the 4th of November. They wrap up at Highland. Again, we've had that Iowa and Kansas series of non-conference affairs. It's been a good situation, I think, for both states to have that matchups take place comparatively to Texas, where we had before. NEO, by the way, in Coffeyville matchup late tonight. That should be a good one. So right now, Ellsworth gets set. Chambers still out in quarterback. It is the quarterback for the Ellsworth Panthers. Gets the snap count, pulls back, gets away from one defensive back, still on his feet, looks to the right side. He's going to determine to try to get out of bounds, picks up maybe a yard and a half. It'll stop the clock with 20 seconds to go. Now they say they gave you more than that, so pick up of about 4. So 2nd down and 6 now with 26 left on the clock. There's been a good one, kind of an ice skating rink out there in the middle with that mud, and not cold, but just miserable.
Yeah, I really had to contend with some things you don't normally have to, but really when the rain has been stopped, some really nice football weather.
Chambers, the quarterback, Parrish Chambers, the turn to give to the delay. I think that's Barnett. He'll spin away and try to get forward, picks up maybe 1 to 2 yards on the carry, brings up a 3rd down situation. That could do it. 10 seconds left to go, and I think the Panthers are okay just to let it slide right on down. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and that's going to be it. Your final score of today's ball game, the Blue Dragons come out victorious 25-13. They win it by 12 over the Panthers of Ellsworth, and they run their record now to 6-1. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout and take a look at the stats and get set to talk with Coach Rhodes after this break, as the Blue Dragons are able to come away with a 25-13 winner today up in Iowa Falls, Iowa. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, the Blue Dragons are bowl eligible, and I think they know that down on the field because they were really celebrating 6-1. They will probably host their own Salt City Bowl coming up. That will be December 2nd at Gowan Stadium. Of course, an opponent yet to be named, but the Blue Dragons 12th in this week's poll will advance a little bit farther up, more than likely with this win. This was a good Ellsworth team, a good defensive team. And the Blue Dragons were able to come out victorious 25-13. We'll get to chat with Coach just in just a little bit, but you look at it, and the Dragons took a quick 8-yard pass from Cam Jones to Watson with 4:46 to go in the first quarter play to lead at 7-0 after the extra point. Right away, one play from scrimmage, 55 yards. Ellsworth was able to come out victorious. Came out with a touchdown to tie it up at 7 apiece. The Blue Dragons at the 155 mark of the first quarter got a safety, and then after that, in the second quarter, Jason Poe with a 22-yard field goal. I checked that. It was with the field goal was made by Niemeyer, and from 22 yards out. By the way, with that kick, he became the most prolific kicker with the most field goals for the Blue Dragons in Blue Dragon history. Cam Jones with a 1-yard run to make it 18-7, and then in the third period, Ellsworth tacked on a 2-yard run to make it 18-13. Blue Dragons were able to get another Cam Jones touchdown to make it 25-13 your final. Coach talking to his team. It was a good one, a good win for the Blue Dragons, and Ellsworth waiting to go and meet and shake hands with the Blue Dragons as well after a tough fought field on this muddy field here in Iowa Falls today. As we'll get set to break huddle here in a second, and again give Darren a chance to get an opportunity to chat with Coach as he gets there. To be returning home to take on Butler this next week. We need a big crowd out to watch as the Grizzlies come to Gowan Stadium. Rusty will rejoin us along with Rob Dreher up in the booth. Darren will be over in the PA. I'll be down on the sidelines for that ball game coming up. Don't forget, on Friday night, high school action as the Salthawks trying to regain their poise in the state tournament race, as they will have one more regular season game that'll be closing out on the road at Mays on Friday night. 7 o'clock kickoff for that one. You can catch that one right here on Country 102.9 as well. And tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and close out the regular portion of this broadcast. Get set to chat with Coach Rhodes coming here up in the post game. We'll be back right after this.
Salt City Pawn and Jewelry, Midwest Ford and Toyota, Rothy Family Flooring, Pinnacle Sports, Elliott Mortuary, Anchor Inn and Acre Away, and these Sportscaster Club members, Mann, Wyatt and Rice LLC, Sutton Kaufman Transmission, A&A Builders, Mega Manufacturing, Lowen Corporation, Wade Patton Insurance, and Bold Office Shares. Stay tuned. Our visit with the Blue Dragons head coach is next on Country 102.9 and BW Radio. It's time for the Coaches Show as we take a look back at today's game from the viewpoint of the Blue Dragons head coach Ryan Rhodes. The Coaches Show on Eagle Radio is brought to you by Cooper Tire. We'll hear from Ryan Rhodes coming up right after this on Eagle Radio.
Time to go down field side and talk with Darren Dunn as he has Coach Rhodes, and 6-1 on the season. Dragons get a nice win, 25-13.
Glenn, you heard the celebration down here. One, yes, because this team is now 6-1, but also Coach Rhodes showed a little bit of solidarity. He slid probably at least 5 yards across the mud. Coach, how far does that go, telling these players, hey, I'm one of you, look at me, I'm just as muddy, with an effort of solidarity sliding through mud like that?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I told them before the game. I said, I know a lot of you guys like to look pretty out here, and that's a part of your game, but today's not that type of day. And we're going to get dirty, we're going to get muddy, we're going to go grind this out and be the toughest football team on the field. So proud of them. Hopefully, number one, I wanted to make sure they were happy and do something fun there at the end. But I feel like I'm that type of guy, and I like to show them sometimes.
Took an 18-7 lead into halftime, had that fumble at the goal line, also had a touchdown perhaps dropped in the end zone. Could have been an even bigger lead. How do you keep morale high after a couple of those bounces don't go your way?
Well, it's frustrating. You know, we were playing pretty good defense. Other than really 2 drives, I thought our defense played really good because I'm telling you that is a really, really tough offense to defend. And so I was nervous all week, and we were able to, you know, to get some good stops. And but, you know, I think at that time our defense stepped up when the offense, you know, kind of ran out of juice in the red zone. But there's no doubt we want to get in the end zone, and obviously it could have been a lot better deal at halftime for us if we'd have been able to punch it in one of those 3 times at least in the first half.
You can watch all the tape you want and see all the players and know you're going to be taking on that team, but when it comes to weather like this, is there a way to even prepare for something like this early in the week?
Well, I'll tell you what, we prepared all week. You know, we always look at the long-range forecast, and just it was so stacked in there this week that I felt like it was going to be a mud fest, and we're playing on a grass field changes things dramatically. And so from the type of cleats we were wearing to how we practiced and the mentality we built into the guys this week, it was all about, hey, we're going to be ready for adverse conditions. We're going to be ready if there's a lightning delay. We're not going to let anything get in our way. We're going to be ready for, you know, just any type of condition. So I thought the guys did a really good job of buying into that and listening to us as we, you know, kind of helping them be ready for something different than what they're used to.
Blue Dragons now 6-1, win it here in Ellsworth 25-13 from Iowa Falls, Iowa. We're back with Coach to talk about Butler in 1 minute.
Dad, what's that sound?
Oh boy, I forgot to have the trailer tires checked.
You didn't take them to Cooper Tire?
No, I was really busy planning the trip. Besides, the tires are only 3 to 4 years old. Thought they'd be fine.
Even I know tires should be checked before leaving home.
You're right, Princess. I'll go to Cooper's before the next trip.
Hi, this is Craig Cooper. Don't make it halfway to your vacation. Before you take your trailer to the lake, have your tires checked. Because of the unique forces on them, they just don't last as long. Cooper Tire Service open 7:30 to 5:30 and Saturday till noon. No appointments needed. What's on your trailer?
Coach, getting the win 25-13 today. You next up back home against Butler for a noon kickoff. Butler, a really good team, 4-2 on the year, taking on Air Force Prep tonight. Only 2 losses against Coffeyville and Garden City. Beat Highland 6-2. What have you seen from this team that kind of worries you?
Well, I've seen them a little bit in crossover film, and they're a very good football team. Very typical Butler. They kind of take what you give them when you're playing defense. They're able to run the football well. They're able to throw it well. Defensively, you know, they're kind of all over the map with different fronts and coverages that they present to you. So, you know, we're going to have a great week of preparation. There's no motivation needed, though, for our guys. I mean, even first-year guys that have been in Hutch for, you know, 6 months at this point, they understand how much we don't like Butler and how big of a game that is for us. So, you know, I'm excited to see what our team can do. You know, we're just trying to take one step at a time, and you know, we took a good step today. It wasn't a great step, but I thought it was a good step and got a win. So happy with them, and we're excited to go prepare for Butler now.
Nobody has probably lost more sleep than you over the last 2 5 and 6 seasons, last 2 years of Ellsworth getting the better of you. How good does this one feel?
It feels really good. You know, I got to be honest with you. I just hate talking about it. I hate hearing people talk about it. I hate seeing people write about it. So at some point, hopefully that'll be over. And, you know, we can just understand, hey, this team, 2017 is a pretty good football team.
25-13 win. Coach, Glenn wants to know who's going to wash all the uniforms.
Well, we're going to be making a call on the way back because they're going to need more than what we have. They're going to need some professional treatment. So we'll be calling the people in Hutch to help us out.
Thanks, Coach. Have a safe trip back. It's the Blue Dragons 6-1 now on the season, winning in Iowa Falls, Iowa over the Ellsworth Panthers 25-13.
We're going to take a quick timeout, come back and wrap up with the Medicine Shop post-game capsule brought to you by the Medicine Shop. Again, 25-13, your final. We'll be back with more from Iowa Falls right after this.
Two lifts, 2 new tire machines, and the best balancer money can buy. If you run a modern-day tire shop, you need the right equipment for the right job.
That's some pretty fancy equipment.
Yes, we have the latest equipment, but more importantly, we have good people who know how to use it.
Hi, this is Craig Cooper. To do the job right, you need the right people using the right equipment. Cooper Tire Service, Hutchinson and Pratt. What's on your car?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Iowa Falls. Again, your final. Blue Dragons win it 25-13 13, a 12-point win for the Blue Dragons. They did a heck of a job. We owe you a Medicine Shop post-game capture brought by the Medicine Shop in Hutchinson. Let's take a look at it. Blue Dragons ended up with 337 total yards on 73 offensive plays compared to Ellsworth's 60 offensive play, 267 yards. Blue Dragons were rushing 59, 307 yards total. Blue Dragons only passed for 30 yards on 6 out of 14 with 1 pick to go against that. Possession time 36-30 compared to 23-40. And Blue Dragons did have red zone chances at 4 out of 7. Were able to convert Ellsworth 1 out of 2. Third down conversions for the Blue Dragons, 3 out of 13 and 1 of 4 on fourth down. Same way with the Ellsworth Panthers, 3 out of 13. Penalties, 7 penalties, 65 yards. They kept that down pretty good. Ellsworth with 6 penalties for 30 yards. Blue Dragons, Otis Williams, the leading rusher with 12 carries, 125 yards. Desmond Jackson with 73 yards on 11 carries. B.J. Emmons with 16 carries, 75 yards. And also Deshaun Waller with 5 carries for 20 yards. And the Blue Dragons were solid from the passing as well, with Cam not throwing, rather than just throwing 1 pick away. Also receiving was Leroy Watson with a touchdown, including a 15 yards and 2 carries, so good job there. Gagnon was good punting, 5 punts for 196 yards, 39.2 was his average. His longest was 43 yards, and a good job by the Blue Dragons there. Quinn Head led all tacklers with 6 unassisted plus 3 assisted tackles for a total of 9. And Calvin Bryce right behind him. Jerry Jacobs all with a pick also late. Also another pick by a couple other defensive blacks for the Blue Dragons as well. Did a good job. Ellsworth were led in rushing with Parrish Chambers, 83 yards on 11 carries. And Robertson with 10 carries, 36 yards. Barnett with 41 yards total. All in all, a good afternoon as the Blue Dragons were able to come away with a victory at 25-13. That's going to wrap it up from here in Iowa Falls. Special thanks to my sidekick, Darren Dunn. Special thanks to all his sponsors on the sideline reports, brought to you by Ty Cahoon Kinesiology, as well as Oliver's Beef and Brew, as well as also Jackson Meat and Hutchinson. Special thanks to Steve Carpenter, Sports Information Director at Hutchinson Community College, for all the help that he does. And again, great job by Larry Stonecipher back on the board. We appreciate all the work that you do. So long, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope it stays dry for you. Blue Dragons win at 25-13. That's your final. So long, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday.